Yes, people, welcome to another edition of From a Third Eye View on Pi Radio, hosted by myself, Flawless Mr. Take Note. We have JV back in the studio, and we're also joined by Mr. I've seen more in a night than I've seen in your life, Stro. JV, how you doing? You good? It's good to have you back.
Good, man. I'm blessed to be back in that. You get me? I see how we got the new lighting in the studio and that. You know what I'm saying? I still think mine was better, but that's for another show. But yeah, new setup and that. I'm feeling it. I'm glad to be back. Yeah.
And Mr. Stro, how's it going? You good?
Good man, you.
Yeah, man. All blessed, and we do have a stacked show. Like
Stacked.
this lineup, we've had some great guests, but as a double act, like this lineup matches up to any other guests we've had. We have ex-England and ex-Liverpool goalkeeper joining us, Chris Kirkland, and we'll also be joined by the most hard-working man in the YouTubing footballing world. Like this guy does videos constantly,
Yeah.
like
Four
four
or
or
five
five
a
videos.
day.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 a day,
Bro,
every day.
Bro, I'm eating breakfast. He's got a video. Eating lunch. He's doing the next one.
Video.
You know what I mean? I'm going out the house. He's doing the next one.
Yeah.
Come back at night. He's done another 2. He's like, bro, you know what I'm saying?
The work rate from him is exceptional. So make sure you follow the Football Terrace and you catch me and JV over there as well doing that United show alongside Terry and Mr. Aaron United. So shout out to Mr. Aaron United as well. Okay, so where these would start? We'll start with you, Mr. Stro. Where do you want to start?
Number of different places we can start. Obviously, whilst we're waiting for Chris to join us, might as well start with another fresh round of tests for the Premier League. 0 positive tests this time. So it's well below the 1% of all the people that they've tested, which is phenomenal numbers. Everything looks set to restart the Premier League on June 17th, which is the 2 headers, which are basically the replays due to the Carabao Cup final. So Aston Villa and Sheffield United, and then obviously Man City and Arsenal, and then the rest of the Premier League kicks off on June 20th, which is all ready to go.
It is, and obviously we've seen the schedule that the Premier League have put out, and I think footballing fans across the country, everyone is in agreement what a schedule that is. I think it was something crazy like Saturday there'll be games at 12, 2, 6 and 8. Sunday the exact same. Then like 2 or 3 games on the Monday. It's like from like 12 till 10. So it's like from midday till 10 at night. The country just gonna be sat in front of their TV.
Bro.
Literally. It's like don't talk to me. I'm not doing anything. Like literally just watching back-to-back Premier League
No, it
games.
is, bro. Girlfriends, wives, mistresses. Not that I have one, by the way. But everyone who don't like football is going to be screwing.
Yes.
Screwing.
But that being said, they've got that new law. Obviously, this ain't a political show, but they have the new law that came out. I thought it was a joke, and it said you can't have relations. I've got to keep it clean because it's Pi Radio. You can't have relations with somebody who is not in your household.
Mm.
So
I think the football's going to block that anyway.
man ain't going nowhere.
Football's bashing up a couple shouts.
Yeah,
You get what I'm saying?
serious. I'm not going anywhere. But yeah, that schedule there is absolutely crazy. Like that schedule is nuts. Salute to people on the YouTube, in the YouTube comments. I'm just gonna go through a couple now. Georgie F says, "Big up, Flawless JV and Stro." Salute to you, my G. Salute to you. He also says, as well as Chris Kirkland and Terry. Haha. Yeah, they will be on shortly. How we doing? How are we doing, lads? Faris said, hey, salute to Faris. He's always showing
Faris,
support.
my guy.
Always.
Shout
Yeah.
out to Faris, yeah?
Shout out to
Faris,
Faris.
the general, yeah?
Every time.
Number one supporter, yeah?
Yeah, like he supports for real. He supports like we share the same surname. So
Don't know,
salute him for that.
Faris. Faris, I know you're listening. We're going to get you on as a
Well, actually,
as a
that being
calling
said,
guest
I
one
forgot
time.
to mention that at the start of the show. So to everyone who's locked in live, we will be bringing a new feature too from a Third Eye View. And that new feature is from a Third Eye View extra time. So for the last half an hour of the show, from 8:30 till 9 o'clock, we'll be opening up the phone line so you can jump on the YouTube live. We're also live on Pi Radio, Twitter, and get your questions, one question into the guest or one statement you want to make. Shout out Mr. Aaron United. He said, come on, my
Come
G.
on.
Come on. Shout out Mr. Aaron United each
Every
and
time.
every time.
Always.
And DJ Ice Cool Vivo says, big up. Hey, salute to you.
Ice
Man,
cold.
Ice cold. Salute to you. So yeah, man, like I said, that schedule, back to footballing topics, that schedule is crazy. And how do you feel, JV, about there being no fans? Do you think it'll be good for certain teams, or I have a thought on it, but do you think it'll be good for certain teams or bad for certain teams and players as well?
Yeah,
Go on.
that. You know what I think? Just from watching Bundesliga,
Mhm.
to me, it gives it almost a pre-season feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like a pre-season. It's not that you get many pre-season games nowadays without fans, but you have seen it before. It's almost like a, what do they call them? Behind closed doors game. Sorry, that's what I'm getting at. Or even like if you watch a lot of football, it's like a reserve game. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
when you
yeah,
watch
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
reserves or like under 18s.
But-
That's what it sounds like. You hear the coaches shouting. So I think for certain teams might feel it, because certain teams, the fans are almost what spurs them on. You know
Yes.
what
Yes.
gives them that extra energy. You know, that they're all saying the 12th man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
that is for some teams it will be something major. For others, I just think that some players and some teams are just going to be so happy to be back. I don't think it will affect them at all.
Okay.
I think Liverpool. So to me, if this happened halfway through the season,
Mhm.
Liverpool are in trouble, because their fans at home is what makes that makes.
That helps. It's a massive help to them. And I think that
No, I think that's what makes Anfield such a fortress. Is the fans, undoubtedly, the fans and the atmosphere what it creates.
true, because it's always a tough game regardless.
Yes, do you get what I'm saying?
Whether Liverpool are great like they are now, like best team in the world, or whether they are bad, going to Anfield's always tough. You rarely have a comfortable win there or an easy ride. Like they're always up for a game in the bigger games, especially.
That's what I'm saying. So
Mm.
like, for them, I'm not saying, because I know we're gonna get people. Oh yeah, you always talk about Liverpool. Well, when the best, you've got to expect to be spoken about.
The thing
But,
is, this is a Premier League show, so of course
yeah.
we're going to talk about like Liverpool. We're going to talk about the best team. As much as it pains me to admit it, they are the best team in the country.
There
So
you
of
go.
course we're going to talk about them. Stro here smiling. Look at him
Do
smiling.
you know what it is? I think that they will, like for Liverpool, it won't really matter right now, because they're going to be riding high.
Yeah.
Earlier in the season, if they had big games coming up, might be a bit different. But I think for some teams, it will be a factor. I think for some of the smaller teams, they might cause a few upsets, because going to I'm just using examples here, going to a Stamford Bridge without fans, or coming to an Old Trafford without fans, Etihad without fans, even though that's normally the makeup at the Etihad.
That's one team that won't be affected.
Yeah, will not be,
because they are
affected.
used to playing
They'll probably
without no
score more.
fans.
You know what I mean? You won't have the fans distracting them. You know what I mean?
Facts.
But in all seriousness, I think a lot of the smaller teams will probably cause a few upsets, because as we've seen, I'll keep referencing it to the Bundesliga anytime we speak about the Premier League coming back, because they obviously came back first. But over there, I think there's been a few upsets. Obviously, your Bayerns and your Dortmund seem to be still in their swing of things, but there's been a few upsets over there. So I think the whole fans not being there, it almost takes away the thing of home advantage. You know what I mean? That almost becomes not a thing. You know what I mean? Because it's the fans. I don't think anyone's scared of the actual stadium. You know what I mean?
It's the fans, it's the atmosphere.
It's not the building which makes you know what I mean? It's the actual fans and the atmosphere that they can make. So yeah, for certain teams it will cause an effect, but for some, not at all.
Stro, what's your thoughts on that? Same question to you. What do you think? How do you see it affecting certain? Do you see it affecting certain teams bad? Do you see certain teams becoming better, or do you see certain players, or what's your thoughts on it?
It's a bit of both, so it can help and impact a player. So, for example, with us, if we'd have played Manchester City earlier in the season and there was no fans, like the atmosphere wouldn't be what it was. We might not have got the result that we had. And at the same time, some players can crumble under a pressure of a big atmosphere. That's why not a lot of people like to come to Anfield. So it all depends. Some players might thrive in it. Some players might not like it. So, for example, us, as you've said, once Anfield's rocking, the atmosphere it's a magical place for the home team and for the Liverpool players, because you've seen it with the Barcelona result, you've seen it with Olympiacos, Dortmund. I mean, I can sit here and name numerous times when Anfield's basically carried us over the line and got us a result that we needed. So I'm interested to see how the Premier League will look, because obviously we look at the Bundesliga as basically a go-to to what the Premier League might look like. Now, obviously, the Premier League will be different because it is notoriously quicker. The players, obviously the teams and stuff like that, and there's a lot to play for in the Premier League. Apart from obviously the Premier League title, that's practically done and dusted. There's still top four to play for, European places. We don't know who's going to get relegated yet. I know Aston Villa have got games in hand, so if they beat Sheffield United, they can climb the way up, and no one's relegated yet. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to play for. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it looks.
Yeah, that's my thoughts on it exactly in terms of, and you made a great point there in terms of relegation. I can see this. If this, you know what I think this does? It really, how do I put this now? I'm trying to think of the best way to put it. Like how JV mentioned it with the crowd. Certain crowds can be a leveler. Now, say going to Aston Villa and going to Villa Park isn't the same. Sheffield United might not have the talent of a Manchester United, of a Liverpool, but going to Bramall Lane with the fans there makes it different. Now I'm much happier. I have more confidence going into games as a Manchester United fan because United have better players than most of the other teams. Now going away to a Bramall Lane, going away to pretty much everyone outside of the big six. Now going away to a Leicester, going away to a Wolves. Like Wolves are a prime example. I can't remember I don't think United have won there since Wolves have been back around. Now if United went to Wolves, I'd be much more confident about it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
Like it's a leveler.
It's literally down to the quality of the players now.
Yes, literally. And with Manchester United, there is no pressure whatsoever. Like there's no pressure on the players, and I think I can see them thriving with that because the pressure at Old Trafford, like it is at Anfield, for the home team is different. Like imagine misplacing a pass, or if Liverpool goal a goal down, or United goal a goal down, like the crowd can get on the back. Like what do away managers always say? They always say the same thing: keep the crowd quiet for 20 minutes or 15 minutes or half an hour. Then we'll ease ourselves into the game. And that's not even for smaller teams. Gary Neville spoke on that about going to Anfield and not giving anything for the crowd to get up. Like don't play short passes into the midfield, knock it into the channels, and then eventually you grow into the game. Just some comments here. I'm just going through. InTV says big. Hey, salute to you. 461 says cheers for that comment, lads. For me as a City fan, it is what it is. You know, it's all bants.
It's all love, man.
It's all bants. It's all bants. Faris is laughing at you saying they'll probably score more. Talking about City.
My guy.
461 also says I think the Champions League quarter-final at Anfield I think the Champions League quarter-final at Anfield a couple years back affected our team massively. Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. It's the no punctuation, that's what threw me off. Tom Nash says, great show, lads. Too much echo and blood straw at the moment. No, Stro, you got any headphones or anything like that?
Yeah, I'll go grab some.
Yeah, go grab some headphones and that, and we'll keep the show rolling. I'll just mute you and that. Yeah, no worries. So Stro will be back shortly. Just go and get some headphones. Make sure to everyone who's tuned in, make sure please click the like button on the video. If you are watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel also, and please retweet, share, go to the Pi Radio Twitter and the Pi Radio Instagram, which are both Pi Radio UK.
And
so make sure you go to them.
Make sure you download the app as well and listen now live. Yeah.
I think, are we actually live now on as Big S sorted it out?
We may be.
I'm not sure.
Someone click the app now and let us know.
So yeah, salute to everybody who's locked in. So all right, where do you want to go here? Where do you want to go next? Obviously, we spoke about the Premier League possibly coming back. All right, since Stroll's not here, we'll talk United. Let's talk about the possibility of Sancho coming in. Let's talk about that. I'll kick it off. Absolutely gassed about the thought of Sancho coming in. Like imagine a front three of Sancho, Martial, Rashford. Is there a better front three in the country?
At the moment, you have to say Liverpool's is, but
and then when I say that, I'm talking about on paper.
On paper,
yeah. Obviously, in reality, on the pitch, is Liverpool's front three, no doubt.
Yeah.
But I'm saying on paper, Rashford, Martial, Sancho is a better front three to me.
Do you know what the worrying thing about getting that front three is?
Go on.
You could have him for about 10 years. the longevity.
That's what I'm saying.
The-
They're only going to get better.
The longevity in that is frightening. It's frightening. It's like you've secured. All right then. So if we're talking left wingers, Rashford's age, he'd be in the top five,
Yeah.
3 or 5 for his age.
For his age group. Yeah.
If you could argue he's the best one. Do you get what I mean? Sancho, he's probably the top. Sancho is the top right winger for his age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's probably the only person who he would be behind. It's probably Mbappe. That's it.
Yeah.
He's literally the only one.
Yeah.
And Mbappe's ahead of everyone in his age group.
There you go.
It's like he's a generational
And then
talent.
You could argue that Martial is in the top 7 strikers.
For a 9. Yeah, true.
9 for his age group at the moment.
That's true.
Do you get what I mean? So you're looking at potentially a team who we could have for years.
Yeah.
That's a front three which we could have for years.
Mm-hmm.
And the frightening thing about them is they're all so very versatile. Like literally, you could play a match, and every single one of them, could go into each one's position.
True.
Do you get what I mean?
That's very true. No, I know exactly what you mean.
You could do that to defenses for years. There's no marking teams who are able to switch wingers, strikers.
This is what I'm saying.
It's a nightmare for defenders.
It's
like we've all played football ourselves, not at the biggest highest level, but even if you play on a Sunday, if you're
just playing as a defensive player against players that are moving and are fluid with it, it's just awkward. You want to know where he is. I play as a holding midfielder. There's nothing worse than a 10 for me who just moves.
Yes, it's the worst.
Just
thing.
always keeps moving. It's
he
like
draws you out to the wing, and then the winger goes to, and then you're like, whoa. And
that's what I'm saying.
To a corner, and it's like, whoa.
I just want you to start like receive the ball, stand still, and try look pretty. Like that's what I hope, because then I can close you down. That's easier. I don't need them dramas. I don't need them type of dramas. Yeah, Stro, we were just literally speaking on why you went. We just turned it. Speak on United. We're talking about obviously the prospect of Sancho possibly coming into Manchester United and how that could work as a front three. I think we spoke on it previously anyway.
Yeah. So this is something I wanted to discuss with Terry initially.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think you're still echoing still. Have you got headphones? Plug your headphones in.
Yeah.
One sec. Yeah, people, we back. 1 second. All right, go on, Stro. Yo, Stro.
Hello.
Yeah, there we go. Go on, what was you saying? We will touch on it again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine. What's going on? Can you hear us, yeah?
Hello.
Yeah,
we can hear
you
bro.
fine.
Yeah, so this is something I wanted to talk with Terry about. So obviously with everything that's going on with coronavirus at the moment, is how much of an impact is that going to have on transfers going forward?
Go on.
Because obviously with the amount of money that teams are losing, so you look at there was a figure that came out that Liverpool are losing close to 200 million, United are losing close to 200 million. Are they going to be willing to spend 100, 120 million on a player when they're losing that amount of money?
I hear that. People are still saying that is an echo on you. All right, 1 sec. We will try and sort this out, people, while we continue the show. We will. Just bear with us. Obviously, technical difficulties. You know how it is. You know how it is. We're trying to work it out now. But back to the point of Sancho coming in. I'm just gassed about that. And what we're forgetting is he'll also be supplied possibly by Pogba and Bruno, which is different. Like that as a front five is levels. Like that's scary.
You know what the maddest thing is, yeah?
Go on.
Let's honestly think about this now, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
If he gets, and by he I mean Woodward, yeah. This Woodward guy. If he brings in Sancho and a left back, yeah, we can honestly sit there now and say Ollie has no excuses. We can honestly say that. I'm not saying this is the best squad in the league, but with those additions, it's to me, with those additions, yeah, Sancho and a left back. We've already seen Fred coming to form. McTominay's coming of age. I feel like McTominay's becoming a player you can depend upon. Maguire's showing he's a leader.
Yeah.
Wan-Bissaka is we don't even need to
Wan-Bissaka is just Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah, man don't need to speak on him. Do you know what I mean? Brandon Williams, I'd like to give him a shout out because he's a young player, but he's also looks very dependable. Do you get what I mean?
I get what you're saying. Like when he plays, you don't worry about him.
Yes.
He's not an issue. It's not like he's a young player who's in. That's a problem.
Yes. You see him play. I actually feel more confident with him at left back than with Shaw.
Say that again, sorry.
I feel more comfortable with Williams at left back than I do with Shaw at left back.
Yeah, because at least I know with Williams, even though defensively he's not the best, I know going forward he's going to offer something.
Oh, you know what?
He's an outlet. Go on, here we go.
Just reminding me, bro.
Yeah, go on.
Oh my God. This guy. Disrespect. Right. Let's get to the bottom of this now. Luke Shaw. Yeah. I seen a picture of Luke Shaw. Like, he's got man boobs at this moment in time.
Are you talking about? I ain't gonna lie, I thought it was photoshopped. Because I seen two pictures. Because I know the one you're talking about, it was a little bit fuzzy. But then I seen another picture of him, and he didn't look as bad.
But you know what? It might be. It might be one of them where. How long have they been back training now? A week or so.
Has it been that long? I don't know. With
It's been
lockdown,
about a week or so.
All days have merged
it's
into
just
one.
all merged, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all merged.
You just wake up in the morning, you don't know what.
You don't know what day it is, what time.
You just know you're making breakfast.
Like, we're literally halfway through the year because it's the 1st of June.
There you go. But yeah, back to my man. Yeah, I seen this picture of him. Yeah, I hope it's photoshopped because if it's not, I'm starting to get the feeling either he is related to someone on our physio team and he's just keeping him in a job or something. He's making sure these men have got extra work to do. You know what I mean? Getting extra hours in. You know what I mean? Overtime. He's making the physios are getting some overtime out of us at United because this guy has come back with 2 Big Macs on his chest. Yeah. He's come back with 2 Big Macs on his chest and his backpack on his front under his shirt.
Can't be fat shaming out here, family.
Nah, you know what it is, bro? I can't fat shame an athlete. If I'm dissing a knife for being blunt, that's not... A knife is not supposed to be blunt, yeah? Even a butter knife can cut, yeah? This guy, yeah, it's ridiculous now. Man want to talk about, yeah, but Rooney, no. You can say what you want about Rooney, yeah? Rooney isn't a top player right now as of this moment because he ran himself into the ground because he knew he wasn't in shape. There's the difference. Right. Rooney ran himself into the ground every time because he knew he wasn't in shape. Rooney did his training on the pitch. Let's get this right.
That's true because one thing about Rooney, when he came back from injuries, he always took 3-4 games to get back up to speed. I remember that.
But there's the thing. It'd take 3 or 4 games to get back. But you could see him putting it in.
Oh, yeah.
But you'd know he's just not there yet.
Yeah.
This Luke Shaw guy, he needs to move house. Because my theory is he lives like, there's a Mackey's at the bottom of his road or something. Yeah. It's ridiculous now. Like, honestly, me as a manager.
Go on.
If that, I swear to you, if that was one of my players, I'd transfer list you.
Yeah, of course, because we laugh and joke about it. Well, you laugh and crack jokes about it. I just laugh about it. That is unprofessional because you are legit unfit for work.
For me, that's as bad as coming to training late.
Yeah, because you're unfit for work. Like if any of us, anybody who's watching, anybody who's listening in, if you go into work and you're not fit for work, they'll probably warn you, fine you or whatever, and send you home. He is not fit for work.
I'd rather an in-shape left back who was late to training every day.
We need a left back because someone said here, hold up. Oh yeah, everybody who's listening, get any questions in now because we'll touch on any topic. So any question you have if you're watching on the YouTube, we will touch anything Premier League related. Doesn't have to be United, can be any club, any team in the Premier League. Let me see here. One sec. Tom Nash says, great show, lads. Too much echo and bloodshot at the moment. No, yeah, we're trying to sort it out. Also, Goodwin says, hello, salute to you. George EF says, Sancho signing would be amazing. I think our second most important signing should be a left back. Williams is back up and Dash short out. I love how people put these statements. I agree. I've said this. United, that's how people don't believe United need a left back. Is wild to me because I think behind a right-sided attacker, that's the next one. The next one to me, we need a left back.
Do you know how mad it is, yeah?
Go on.
Luke Shaw still being at United in this shape consistently shows how far we have fallen.
That's true.
He does that in Fergie's days. Oh, He's in the reserves.
And this is what I'm saying. And you made a great point about rather having a left back who's good, who's late to training every day. If he was doing phenomenal things on the pitch, we'd let it slide. But it's like, you don't even do anything phenomenal. Like, we've seen no improvement from you.
He don't even do anything. Never mind anything phenomenal.
Yeah.
He don't. He right. This is it. Yeah.
Go on.
He's managed to let a reserve team left back. Don't get me wrong. Brandon Williams is very good, but the fact that Brandon Williams even gets in with a shout when you've been bought for what? Let's think. Shaw got bought for a lot of money. You know. Shaw got bought for, if I'm thinking rightly, it was like 40 mil or something. We bought Shaw for. You know.
It was a lot. I think it was 30 million at the time.
There you go.
But it was when we signed him, it's not like 30 million now.
30
Like, it's 30
million was a
million
lot.
time. And the thing is, he's the highest paid left back, I think, in Europe.
There you go. So to me, yeah, it's kind of like, how can you be? All right then. He's the marquee signing for his position.
Yeah.
The club's marquee signing for his position. You've let a young kid come and disposition you at the club. Like, do you not even have any pride in that?
No,
Like,
I don't.
do you get what I'm saying? Do you really think if we had? All right then. Do you think if? All right, it's probably why Greenwood's not displaced anyone right now, because Martial's probably seen a Greenwood in training and gone, I need to step down.
Yeah, he step up. And one thing about what Brandon Williams has done, he has pushed Shaw to be better. Because Shaw has been, and Shaw had that period where United were playing free at the back, and he was playing as like a left side of the three centre backs, and he played well.
But do
He
you
did
know
do
why?
well.
Though?
He did do well.
If you see Luke Shaw when we bought him,
Yeah.
and then you say this guy's gonna be playing on the left side of a free centre backs, you go, what you on about?
Yeah.
You'd probably be thinking, nah, he's more likely to be a left winger. Do you know what I mean?
I get what you're saying. Yeah. I
But
get
that
what
shows
you're
how
saying.
much he's fallen. For me,
Yeah.
he's not taking it seriously.
Yeah.
I
get
honestly
what
feel
you're
like he's not. If that's Sunday League, you get told about that. Come on, bro.
Nah, I hear you.
Louder pies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You need to, and you're being paid to be in shape. Stro, can you hear us now? Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Let us know in the comments about Stro. We'll continue to go through the comments anyway. 461 says.
Yeah, just quickly before we proceed, just need to make a quick announcement. Something looks like it's come up, and I don't think that Chris Kirkland's going to be able to join us tonight, so it is something that we are going to be rescheduling.
Yeah. No worries, people. These things happen. People. Best left back for me at the moment, Davies, who was at Bayern Munich. Alphonso Davies is quality.
Oh, he's phenomenal.
Alphonso Davies is quality.
Do you know we had the chance to sign him?
When? I didn't know this.
Oh.
What happened? When was this?
Under a certain Portuguese manager, we had the chance to sign him.
And what? And did Mourinho say no?
Apparently, our scout went to see him multiple times, and I mean like in the 10s and 20s. And yeah.
Yeah, here's what it is. Isn't it?
You know what I'm saying? But him, yeah, on a brighter note, he is a phenomenal player. He's literally, he's someone, you know why I like him so much? He's someone, you get these players who come along every so often, like a Mbappe, like he's got it.
Who you look at him and they're like, you are that.
Yeah.
You
like,
have it.
You look like you've been doing this at the top level for 5 years. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He looks
exactly
like
what you're saying.
he looks like he's been left back in for a long time. And then I seen something because I remember seeing him in I think if I'm right, he was at Toronto, I think, or Montreal, Toronto, one of them. He's not even an American. He's not even American. He's Canadian.
Yeah.
I remember seeing him in the MLS, and he was more attacker. You know, he was a winger.
Yeah, he was. He got turned around. Stro, what's your thoughts on him? Alphonso Davies?
Phenomenal player. I mean, you seen what he did when he in the Champions League against Chelsea.
Yeah.
It's
True.
Raw talent, raw pace. He's still young, which is good because he can still learn positioning and stuff like that. But yeah, if you look at the mark that he could have on this game, and his potential alone is sky high. I mean, I can see him in the Premier League in the next couple of years. You could also see him at Barcelona, Real Madrid. Like he wouldn't look out of place. He's an unbelievable talent, and yeah, if I was Manchester United, if I was City, if I was Barcelona, Real Madrid, I'd be keeping an eye on that kid, and I'd be making a bid next summer, 100%.
To me, he looks like a Jordi Alba replacement. Just like everything he does, he reminds me of prime Jordi Alba.
Yeah.
when Spain were winning everything.
Yes.
And you know, like
Just going up and down that left hand side.
he's the left back, but he's literally getting a through ball from the striker and he's scoring it. You know what I mean? Like then you're like, huh? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like even the one at Bayern Munich, Alaba, who he's he's more or
Well,
less.
Alaba's currently playing centre back now.
Yeah, so it's like Alaba's legs might have gone a bit.
Yeah.
He's gone centre back, and he's now took his. Do you get what I mean? But that is just that last sentence. How you've identified Davies, and you've signed him, and you've brought him in, and he's all of a sudden looking like a identical version of Alaba, but with more pace.
Yeah,
that's excellent scouting.
True.
That's excellent. Transfer tactics.
Nice.
I know.
It was nice. You got there.
I was gonna go there.
Yeah, you saved it. That's nice. Nice.
And then
that's nice. You and Stro smiling. That's nice. That
even your whoever it is who's in charge of transfers over there, and the coaches to identify to have him as a winger, but then to identify. Wait, he's a Roberto Carlos-esque. Roberto Carlos-esque, Jordi Alba, David Alaba, left back. You know what I mean? They've molded him into something else, and he looks as if now, if he continues on that trajectory, he could be the hallmark of what a left back needs to be. Do you get what I mean?
What are you saying?
Because he's fitting because his defending's on point as well. So
that's true. Defensively, normally with fullbacks, young fullbacks, you would expect them to be good going forward, but suspect defensively. That's why Wan-Bissaka gets so much praise. But he is good defensively and offensively. Like, he is quality. Josh Waring says, big up yourself, my bros. Yeah, man, salute to you, Josh. Every time, salute to you. Brandon Williams ready to take his place, or should we go for Tellez or Davies or Alaba? Yeah, United need a left back. I've said this. That's just my opinion.
The one out of them three would be most likely to get is Tellez.
Yeah,
Davies ain't going nowhere. I don't think Alaba is going anywhere.
The thing is with Munich, though, Bayern Munich, they will sell at the right price.
Oh, yeah.
Even if there's just the right price inside.
Alaba is probably going to be one of them who will just stay there until he's like 37 or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Faris says Brandon Williams is a good fullback. I prefer and assume that he'll become a right back in the near future, simply because inverted and orthodox fullbacks does not necessarily work well in the modern day. I can easily see Brandon Williams playing as a right back. Definitely.
I think he's going to me, he's a modern day Irwin.
Yeah. Not as good, but yeah, a modern day Irwin.
Not as good. I'm not saying he's in that mold.
The
right-footed left back, comfortable on the ball, can strike the ball well. And
it'll only probably get better as well.
Yeah, I won't be surprised if he can take free kicks and all of that. You know what I mean? He looks like that type of confident on the ball. You know what I mean?
Faris also says Shaw looks in terrible shape, terrible professionalism and commitment from the man. Jeez, okay. Aiden Andrews says Luke Shaw is garbage with pizza. He's got a pizza emoji, a burger emoji, and I think that's a taco. I just want to say to everybody who's watching and listening, the views on Luke Shaw are the views of JV and the listeners, and not the view of Pi Radio.
Yeah,
just have to put that out there, disclaimer.
Why said I mean?
Yeah, like I just gotta make sure, protect the radio station and that. Alphonso Davies played at right wing at his time at Vancouver FC.
Yes,
did he?
Vancouver. See, I knew. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro.
Know. Yeah, that's
he wasn't a left winger. He was a
right winger.
You know what I'm saying? He was like a Robben. I thought he was going to be the Robben replacement.
The thing is, you could probably still go back to that. Like, you got a proper multifunctional player there.
Yeah.
You also said Georgiev also says Davies. I think is cold. You were trying to say that, but also Guerrero at Dortmund is amazing and good attacking left back and left wing back. Yeah, man, there's options there. United, I would take all the names you lot have mentioned here that have been in discussion. I would take. Yeah, he said that. 461 says, lads, where do you think Sao Niguez is going to end, or do you think it's mind games and he's staying put? So for anyone who's not seen this on Twitter, yesterday he put out a tweet and he said 3 days, new club. I don't think he's personally going anywhere. That's just me, though. I don't think he's going anywhere. That's me.
For me, I don't know what it is about him. He screams Bayern Munich to me.
Go on, elaborate. What makes you say that?
I remember like a few years ago they got like Xavi Martinez.
Yeah.
He did very well for him.
Yeah.
Thiago, they got. Every now and again, a good Spanish midfielder comes up. The Bayern Munich grab him. And I think his style of play suits a Bayern Munich. Because Bayern, you have to think, at Atletico under Simeone, he can naturally attack, but Simeone has grounded into him all of the defensive attributes that you need to play as a centre mid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Centre mid, you need to be. For me, he's a box to box player.
Yeah.
He can go. He's as good going back as he is going forward. And for me, that's see, Premier League. I think he would. I'm not saying he'd be overlooked, but in the Premier League, I don't feel like we have box to box anymore. I feel like now Premier League, it's like you're defensive and you go back.
Yeah.
Or you're attacking and you go forward.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
I think there is a place for that because obviously, like you said, we specialize midfielders now. So you're a defensive midfielder, or you're a deep line midfielder,
Do you get what I'm saying?
or you're an attacking midfielder. Like they're the main three, but there is space for a box to box one. If you play a free, you can play a box to box midfielder.
Oh yeah, but if you play a free, I don't want to say this, but the team where he would fit in is probably Liverpool.
Yes,
because it's a three. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's a three where they're all very similar. So at different points in the game, you'd all be doing the same job, if that makes sense. So one might go forward, and then when I go back, you go forward, and then when the other guy, do you know what I mean?
I get exactly what you're saying.
You'd fit more in there than maybe even a Chelsea actually, because Chelsea's midfield three are very similar. There's not one who's
because they've got Kante, Jorginho, Kovacic.
Yeah,
they're the three, and they all are. Even though Kovacic does get forward a little more, they all are very similar.
Yes, do you get what I'm saying? They're all that sit. They could all play them. You could all just tell them 3 centre mids.
Yeah.
Do your thing. Do you know what I mean? And they'd probably figure it out between themselves. You go, I stay, you go. You know what I mean? So I think he's more of he needs to go to a team where they've got a proper place for him.
Okay. And Bayern Munich, I get what you're saying.
I feel like to me that just screams Bayern Munich because you know what he is. He's very efficient,
and that's one thing about the Germans. They're very efficient.
He's one of those players where you look at him and you think you suit a different nationality style of play. He's not very Spanish. He's not your David Silva, your Juan Mata in his prime. He's not very silky. He's robust. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
That man do like the French when we spoke on a previous episode, glide across the pitch.
Yes, French is very like
Very
dramatic.
va-va-voom.
Je ne sais quoi. You know, all them mad things there. He's more like, you know what I'm saying? He's more, but he's got it though to go the other way. Because I remember he scored a goal. I think it was against Bayern a few years ago. Yeah, he scored a mad goal where it was just in and out. You know what I mean? So he's got it.
Nah, I get what you're saying.
I'd love to see him at United, but I think we would stifle him because we'd probably just say, because we've got Bruno and Thingy now.
Just be a holding midfielder. That's why United needs to just go outside and holding midfielder. Ben Ryder says here, this is a question for you, Stro. Where would Bloodstro improve in Liverpool's squad, and who would he get in those positions?
Good question. I think definitely the midfield.
Right, the way you're thinking. Okay,
definitely the midfield. We need an attacking option in the midfield now. Obviously, if we get Werner and then we push Firmino back, then that's a phenomenal change to the starting 11. But if, for example, Werner can't dislodge Firmino for whatever reason, or due to coronavirus we can't actually get in Timo Werner like we're meant to, then we need an attacking option in the midfield. Oxlade-Chamberlain's done a phenomenal job. I'm a huge fan of Oxlade-Chamberlain, but we just need that something different in games that Coutinho did have. Now, don't get me wrong, when Coutinho did leave, I think we actually improved as a squad and as a team. But if we're going to be, obviously look like we're about to be crowned champions, if we want to do that back-to-back and we want to stay on top as much as we can, we need big reinforcements in that midfield. So positioning-wise or personnel-wise, you've got to be looking at the likes of Kai Havertz, Ura from Lyon. You've got to be looking at players like that, which is a shame because I know that the guy from Lyon was actually on our radar, but obviously with everything that's going on, that's been pushed back. So that'd have been a good signing. But ultimately, I just want Timo Werner in as soon as possible.
So you're looking at, even though you're saying the midfield areas where you would strengthen, if you brought in Timo Werner, you'd want Firmino to drop in the 10 and then play two midfielders. All right, that's fair enough. Faris here says there's a fantastic left back who's incredibly both-footed named, I ain't gonna pronounce his first name, Musa in League One. And he used nobody.
Try it, bro.
I even try it. I'm trying to Paul Mercer me out here. I'm not even doing it. No. No, no. Where's Aaron when you need him? He's the guy for that.
Bro,
Because Aaron
Yeah,
speaks
he
like
is the guy for that.
16,
No,
because
I
he
got
speaks
inbox,
like
man.
25 languages, yeah? Like, he's the guy. He's my go-to. If he was on the stream right now, I'd be like, yeah, Aaron, how'd you pronounce that?
Oh, you know what? Let me try and see.
You try it. Yeah, I ain't trying that. 'Cause I know I'm gonna butcher it, my raw Manc accent. I know I'm gonna butcher it. He said Musa is 23 years of age, if I'm not mistaken. I really like him.
Does it begin with an F?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what he means.
You know, you
You get me done. Man's a football guy, you know. Yes. Yeah.
he is. You lot teaching me. We'll get to that.
F Boost, yeah, I know.
He also says Renan Lodi at Atletico Madrid as well.
Yes,
All right.
yes, very, very good left back.
Okay.
Brazilian.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm feeling
He
that
said
still.
Keita was supposed to be that, but keeps getting injured. That's Aiden Andrews who said that. Also, who's had the original question for you, Stro. That's
Yeah,
true. I think Keita was the one he was supposed to be, wasn't it?
Yeah, he is. Don't get me wrong. When he's actually played on the pitch, you've seen the impact he can have, and you've seen the talent that he's got. Problem is, this is the man that we're talking about who got on a plane to go to Napoli in the Champions League and injured his back on a
Wait,
plane.
what? Wait, what? Say that again.
Yeah.
You
So
can't just
when-
speak
I don't
past
know.
that.
Wheel up.
Say that again.
So when we played Napoli last season in the Champions League, well, it might have been this season, but one of them, because we've had him back to back in Champions League groups. He boarded the plane at Liverpool John Lennon Airport to Naples. Somehow on that flight, he's got off the flight injured. Injury to his back
you
and his neck.
man were getting some cheap airline in it with them bad seats and that.
Yeah, that's what that must be. But the thing is, he's not even the tallest, so it's not like he's got like long legs or something
he's
like
a
that. Like
small
you need
guy, innit?
extra leg room. Like I ain't the tallest, but I have long legs, so I need that extra leg room if I'm on a flight because man's just cramped up.
He's a small brother, man.
He's not.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, some man are just not very. See, like I'm saying, Saul Niguez is robust.
Yeah.
My man is obviously not very robust. How do you sit down and get injured? That's when you should be relaxed.
That would be a worry in case there's any ongoing injury with that. Like, does he have a back? Like, if he had a back problem, that would make sense.
Yes.
If he had a back where it's
There
like,
must
alright,
be
makes sense.
for that. There must be some sort
Something
of
else.
underlying. That's
Yeah.
like some old man business.
Yeah.
Like, my back. I sit
Yeah.
down too quick. You know what I'm saying? that's some granddad business, fam. Man's like an
you're a
athlete
fool.
in his prime, bro.
You're a fool. You're a whole fool. Oh yeah, Georgiev said I did actually forget about this actually. What do you guys think of Ighalo signing a contract extension? Yeah, I'm happy about it.
Till January.
Yeah, well, I don't even know when he's chill, but he's a good squad player to have. He's different from the strikers United already have. So my thoughts on it, yeah, it's good. I'm with it. What do you think about it, JV? And then we'll go to you, Stro.
It's phenomenal business.
All right, go on, elaborate.
It means we don't get Josh King. And we don't spend any money. So for me, I know what Wood was doing.
Go on, what do you think Woodward's doing?
Wood was penny pinching.
Right.
He's penny pinching, but he doesn't actually realise, because he probably don't like up with the football and that. He doesn't actually realise he's doing a good thing by keeping him.
Yeah, he's just looking at it as the cheaper option and not
Yes.
the better option.
Yes.
He's definitely the better option.
But it is actually the both, but he's not realising. It is the cheaper option and it is actually the better option. Because if it, don't get me wrong, if he was going to, because we were linked with that Dembele from Lyon
Yeah.
a while back. If we were going to go out and spend, because if you remember, that died down very quickly, didn't it?
Yeah, that did die
Do you know what I'm
extremely.
saying?
Yeah, that didn't even get ahead of steam or anything.
That's what I'm saying. So if we were now then to be looking at another striker who was costing around that much,
Yeah.
then maybe you'd go, well, do I want Ighalo then? Do you get what I'm saying? But then I think this, unless they're incredibly smart and they've died down the Dembele thing, try to just throw out the Josh King thing, knowing they're not going to get him, and then done this with Ighalo, yeah, they're smart if they've done that on purpose, because then it's worked. Do you get what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you'd rather Ighalo than Josh King. I can't see what Josh King can bring to Manchester United Football Club that another reserve striker could. For me, he wouldn't play more matches than Greenwood.
Yeah.
So he'd be what, third choice, maybe fourth choice, if you count in Rashford as a centre forward. Because for me, for Josh King to play centre forward for Manchester United,
Yeah.
I'd rather. We've all come to this thing that Rashford is a left winger,
Yeah.
but I'd rather you just put Rashford up front.
Yeah, of course, if you need to play him there for
Do you
2
get
or
what I'm
3
saying?
games.
Yeah,
That's
if he
right.
needs to play there every few games, play him there. So for me, the whole Josh King thing is you might as well either have got Ighalo, which is right, or get a reserve team striker.
That's what I'm saying. Stro, what's your thoughts on it?
Well, obviously, last week I was highly critical of it. The fact that it came out that they weren't looking to extend the loan, which I thought was strange, because the reports, or the last reports that we had on Rashford, was that he wasn't even fit enough to make the Euro. So how can you pin any hopes on him being fit at all for the top four running? Because, like I said last week, Chelsea, Kante doesn't like he's going to play the rest of the season. Willian's umming and ahhing whether he's going to be playing the rest of the season, and you can completely understand why. Chelsea are there for the taking. So for United to not put everything they can into getting that top four, to me, I thought was weird. And then obviously I keep seeing that the reports slightly changed towards the middle of the week last week. And then obviously it broke this morning that it's extended till January, which I think is good business on everyone's behalf. But the only issue you've then got is you then try and replace him in January, which is, everyone knows January is notoriously difficult for transfers. Inflation goes up, prices go up because you don't know what team or what position teams are in. Players in that team might be vital, and as a result, it just puts the price up by an extra 10, 20 million. So, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's good business, but I'm interested to see what happens in January.
Well, the only thing with January is,
go on.
January might be when the season starts, bro.
That's true. We've still not figured out exactly when everything's going to start again. That's true. And they probably looked at it they probably looked at it and been like, at least we have an excuse or a reason. Or I think, you know what I think they've done? We'll just figure it out when we get there.
Yeah.
Let's just figure it out when we get there.
In this current climate, it's not actually that bad. Because like January, for me, I like, all right then, we're going to finish off this season now, yeah? Yeah. So we've got the green light now. Mm-hmm. We're finishing off the season when the season would have already finished. Right, yeah. So the season now cannot start now in August. No.
I think what they'll probably do is like, say,
I can tell you what they're doing.
All right, go on, Stro. Elaborate.
It's starting in the second Saturday in September. They're looking to push back a few international friendlies to kind of keep the momentum going and try and squeeze as many games in as possible, because obviously losing 4 games that you'd normally have in August. Champions League can be pushed back as a result. I believe that's going to be October. But yeah, Premier League basically came out when they said that they would restart in June 17th, basically giving a start date of when the Premier League will be finishing and when the Premier League will be officially restarting, which is the second week in September.
But then see, this is where it marries up then. Go on. If they know that, then it's excellent business. Yeah. Because this now means that the transfer window is going to close later. So that means if the season's starting in September, the transfer window closes in when? October?
I'm not sure.
Because it's normally a month after. No, ours closes early, innit?
Oh, you mean you're talking about in pre-season?
Yeah.
Like in the close season?
The English one, ours closes early.
Yeah, I can't remember when it... Yeah, I can't even remember exactly when it closes. Stro, when does it close? Do you remember?
We normally close it. I can't remember if we close it a week or a week before. Yeah, because normally it was the end of August. Then normally they changed it because Premier League clubs weren't happy with the way that transfer dealings were going on and people pinching and stuff like that. So I know they did change it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's before we actually start our Premier League season is when our Premier League or when our transfer window finishes.
Okay, all right. Let me just pause you there because I would like to welcome to the show Mr. Football Terrace himself. Terry to the show. Terry, how you doing? You good?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm tired, but I'm all right.
Is it? All right, man. That's good. How many videos you done today? I seen one before, and then you went live as I was on the way to radio.
Just 2
Is it just
so
2?
far. But,
right, and then this.
Yeah, in case any ladies watching, 3 a day minimum. So 3 a day minimum.
I love that. Yeah, people, make sure you go and check out the Football Terrace on YouTube because Terry covers everything. Not even everything Premier League, everything across Europe, all types of football. So make sure you go and check it out. There's more questions here coming in. Affair says, hello, salute to you. Josh Waring says, big up to Aaron. Yeah, because we saluted. Aaron, this is a question for you, Stro. Liverpool have to sell to Van Dijk, Alisson, Mane, Firmino, and Salah. Who does Bloodstro sell? Look at Stro's face.
It definitely isn't Alisson or Van Dijk, put it that way.
Okay.
Based on this season, I can't sell Mane either, so it'd be Firmino and Salah.
Oh, okay. Okay. And even though this question wasn't for you, Terry, who would you sell? non-bias aside, not as a United fan, as a
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you've got to sell two of those players, I'd sell Mane and Firmino.
Okay.
Yeah, Alisson and Van Dijk got to stay, and then it's almost like an impossible decision. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, Firmino definitely,
Yeah.
and then probably Mane. I think Salah, 88% of his games he scores in, so stay with him
Jeez.
for Liverpool anyway.
Yeah. For Liverpool, that's why I asked you, like, as a non-biased. That's what it was. And Aiden Andrews here says, Stro, if we play with an attacking midfielder, won't the system change, leaving us defensively open?
Possibly, but Klopp's go-to formation when he was in Germany and when he first came to us and he didn't have the personnel was 4-2-3-1. It's always been his favourite formation. It's always been his go-to in particular big games. And although we do have the pivot of the three in the midfield games, for example, against Tottenham, where it's not quite going our way or the momentum's not in our favour, he normally does revert to a 4-2-3-1, and you'll see Salah go up front, Firmino will drop behind, Oxlade-Chamberlain will go on the right and Mane will go on the left. So he does change to it in certain games. And could it leave us defensively open? Possibly, but at this point I can't go against Klopp. I can't question anything he does because what he's done so far is phenomenal. So I guess we'll see, especially if we get Timo Werner in. So
Nah, that makes sense. I think it improves you. Like I said, if you went then, and that would probably make him go and sort out your midfield. And not like it's bad, but it's definitely Liverpool's weakest point. If you actually went and signed a proper holding midfielder, a Thomas Partey, different.
Do you think that's the weakest part of their?
Definitely the weakest part of their team.
Wouldn't you say next to Van Dijk?
Nah, because I rate Joe Gomez better than Henderson.
No.
Ox.
See,
Go on, what do you mean?
I rate Gomez highly.
Yeah.
He's just he's got a bad injury record.
Yeah, but the thing is with Van Dijk, the problem Liverpool have in their midfield, to me, they don't have a Van Dijk level type. Have a Van Dijk type. See that rhyme? You can tell I'm a rapper. You know what I mean? Van Dijk, I'm so proud that rhyme. I'm really pleased with myself.
Yo, you ain't a Van Dijk type. Next battle rapper.
Yo, I'm that happy that I rhymed, you know. I'm not gonna lie, that's fly. I'm gonna write that down. Like, I'm gonna use that. I swear down. But yo, I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, if you had a Van Dijk type in their midfield, he could carry a Henderson.
They've got a Colossus.
Like, put it this way, I think either four of us here on this show right now, if you put us next to Van Dijk, we wouldn't be that bad because we're not.
I would be. I would be. I played for a Sunday League team for 5 years, and I used to win Club Man of the Year every year because I run the line each week and didn't know. So yeah, that's my level. Do you know what?
Mate, go on, Terry. Go on.
He's going to be a midfielder. I think there's a player that we overlooked who's going to be moved into midfield pretty soon for Liverpool anyway, and that's Trent.
Oh, you reckon Trent will go into? Okay,
Trent will become a midfielder.
You think?
I think. Yeah. He's too talented to be a right back. In terms, he's too good on the ball. He's too good going forward. If they could throw in Liverpool could go to another level if they were able to throw in a defensive right back to the standards of, say, an AWB, and then just use Trent further forward and not have to worry about his need to get back. I just think they could make themselves even stronger. And I also want to see that for England. I want to see Trent move further up the field. And we've got so many good right back for England. So I feel like we utilise more than one at the same time. And I think with Trent going forward, he's as good as any creative midfielder in the Premier League. So why not?
That's a great. I never thought about it like that. Because if you put Trent in there and then put him next to a holding midfielder, and then you have Firmino, Mane, Salah, and a number 9, say it was Werner. That's a formidable team. It is.
Plus, to be fair, to look at it as well.
Go on.
It's a great point because Trent, when he was coming through the youth, actually did play centre midfield, and it's something that has been openly discussed in interviews with him and ex-players and stuff like that. Because obviously his idol was Steven Gerrard growing up, so as he came through the youth system, he did start off as a centre midfielder, and it was only 2-3 years ago, I believe, he then got pushed into the right back position. And everyone questions him defensively, which is you can kind of understand because he's learning in the job and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, if you push Trent into centre midfield, it just gives us a whole new dynamic, and the division of passes, the kind of passes he'll be able to put through, he'd feed Mane and Salah all day, and that's scary for other Premier League teams, especially if we got someone who is more defensive at right back. It just makes us more solid defensively. That means Robertson can go forward. That means that there's not much stress on Fabinho having to cover left and right back, because then it would just technically only be Robertson going forward. So defensively we'd be more solid, and offensively it could just be phenomenal.
Say that again.
It'll be like a Philip Lahm transition, but he'd be doing it younger in his career. You know what I mean? And more of an attacking threat and creative threat than Lahm. I think someone who's doing that right now as well. I was shocked to see it as well. Dani Alves. He's in Brazil. He's at Sao Paulo, and he's more or less like an attacking midfielder now.
But that's no. You know what? That's no surprise. We spoke on it when we spoke about. I can't remember why, but it was probably clowning Arsenal, and was talking about David Luiz, and we're saying about him becoming a centre back, and it's like he just became a centre back because everyone else was better than him in forward games. And then we seen there was an article that you sent in the group chat. So and he said I literally started playing centre back because there was better players playing midfield and the attacking places.
He said I was an attacking midfielder, but then I got in the youth teams for Brazil, and it was like Kakas and Robinho's. So I ended up a centre back.
You ain't got a chance.
Yeah, you've got to remember as well who started these positional changes. Ever before Ryan Giggs went from being a winger to a midfielder, ever before we saw Lahm do it, Rooney do it. Dwight York was playing central midfield for Sunderland,
Oh yeah, he was. I remember
that man did that, and that also shows that he was more than just a striker, because you can't ever imagine Shearer or Michael Owen becoming a central midfielder. It always shows that, for me, is a true barometer of footballing ability, when you can play multiple positions, and whether it's like you can play left, right, or centre up front. And that's why Gareth Bale impressed me, because he learned to play all three roles. Ronaldo played all three roles, and it's why I think Hazard's a great player. But you move him off of that left hand side, and he becomes distinctly average. And that's the true football ability is, I think you can handle 2 or 3 positions on the pitch. For instance, if you put Van Dijk into central midfield because you were desperate, he can perform, because he's that good at football. Wayne Rooney, the other, left, right, through the middle, midfield. Like Rooney did all right in goal once, I think. Do you know what I mean? So these are top level footballers. But Trent, he's just too good for right back. Far too good for right back. And it's a shame, really, that he's a Liverpool player, because I'd love it. I still wouldn't love him to be at Man United because he's got AWB, but I just wish he wasn't at Liverpool. Really?
I think that's the general consensus. And now you're talking about Trent moving into centre mid. To me, he solves England's problem, because England are very weak there. Central midfield areas, England are very weak. Very, very weak there. Yeah. If he goes into central midfield, he walks into England's central midfield.
Yeah, easily.
To me.
What uses competition? Rice. Rice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Declan Rice. Listen, Declan Rice. He's called Declan Rice for a reason.
Yeah, go on. Why?
When you eat rice, what's rice?
Is it carbs? I don't know.
But it's bland. It's dead on its own, isn't it? Rice is dead on its own.
You have to put something with it.
To back it up.
Yeah. You have to put something.
Do you know what I mean?
I get what you're saying.
Him on his own is very ineffectual. There's not much you can get from Declan Rice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Go on, Terry.
Yeah.
No, the Rice is bland, especially if it's cooked by an English person. You know what I mean? It's even worse. That's true. Don't know how to cook rice.
Oh my!
Rice pudding. That's about it.
He's like, all right. I'm just going to the comments. JJ Mina says, "Yo, that's Jay Finks. What's going on, Jay Finks? You good?" She said, "My G, salute to you." Farid says, as much as I prefer to acquire a centre forward such as Timo Werner or a Moussa Dembele, I am pleased that it was a loan extension and not a permanent signing. Good business. Yeah, Terry, he's talking about obviously Ighalo staying at United. What's your thoughts on it?
I'm sick to my back teeth of these Man United fans. Man United fans with their fake outrage. It's a perfect signing. Nobody gets angry when you sign a third choice goalkeeper, because the third choice goalkeeper. Why would anyone? Oh, we need Werner. No, we won't. You have Anthony Martial, because these same idiots are, we need a Werner. We need a Kane. If we signed them, they would moan, oh, what about Martial's development? All they care about is being outraged and going for that kind of rage effect on social media and getting rival fans of Man United to like and retweet what they're saying for attention. It's all attention seeking. The business, by the way, is brilliant. It's brilliant. But I know for a fact that half these people moaning, if they bumped into a Ighalo in the street, they'd be asking for a selfie, getting a picture, saying, "Oh my God, hashtag my striker." Do you know what I mean? They're just fake. Dude, they would. And hate these people. All of them are fake.
Striker.
Yeah, it's true. It's fake. A lot of them. And I think from my point of view, it's a great bit of business. I said it when it was signed. And here's an example. It's like we did it on our show, that United show last year. If we were looking to replace an A-lister and we ended up with a Ighalo and we wanted an A-lister for A-lister, then it's disappointing because you want top of the range. But it's a case of, well, I was saying earlier, if I sold I drive quite a nice BMW M series. It's nice. If I want to get rid of that because I don't need it anymore, I don't drive long distances. The family are using a different car. I literally need one to drive up and down the dirt track where I live and around my town. If I sell that, is it a downgrade if I buy like a little truck? No, because I need a truck. What I need now is a truck. I don't need a 5 Series BMW because I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not using it. It's not like. That's the way I look at this the whole time. It's like Ighalo isn't Lukaku's replacement like for like. He might replace him in terms of a number in the squad, but his role's different. And I think I was annoyed that people couldn't see that. And then I've realized people can see that. They know it, but the narcissism, I want likes. I just want to be liked. Honestly, just if these kids would have got a few more hugs from their dad when they grew up, they'd be fine now. And they didn't. Do you know what I mean? And by the way, if people are bought into this, I was saying to someone earlier, like, if you believe this fake outrage, trust me, your girl's pulling the walls over your eyes too. Trust me, she didn't come once or twice. She finished herself off in the bathroom.
All right,
Leave that
keep it clean, yeah? Is this radio, yeah?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Keep it clean. It's all right. You didn't swear. It's all good.
I apologize. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all good. This is radio. It's all good. You kept it clean. I just stopped you beforehand. Try to keep the analogies clean. It's all right.
I'm sorry. I'm so used to YouTube. I'm really sorry.
Because we are live on YouTube, people, but you can also listen to this on the Pirate Radio website as well and the Pirate Radio Twitter. Terry, don't worry about it. It's all good. It's all good. No issues. It's all good. Faris also says maybe Mason Greenwood would have grown into his body, bulked up, and is 100% ready to play Premier League football. To me, Mason Greenwood's ready now. To me, he's ready now. I don't know what more he has to do in terms of his goal output to make people believe that. I've said this before and I say this again. I think I've said this on that United show on the Football Terrace with Terry and JV and Aaron. If Mason Greenwood was elsewhere, English, and was at a Leicester, a Wolves, or Aston Villa, or let's say Aston Villa, because obviously we're talking about Grealish, and was banging in the goals the way he has been for United, everybody would be like, that's who we need to go sign. Young, fresh English talent. But because we have him, people kind of let that go over their head.
And it cost us about 60, 70.
Yeah, people, and the prices we'd be talking for him, we're talking, 60, 70 million for Grealish.
But
go on.
My only thing is, and I hope the reason why I'm thinking why we don't play him is to prevent burnout.
Okay.
I honestly think it's a bit of protection. Mm-hmm. I think next season he'll play a lot more. He could even play a lot more now.
To me, he should be. I'm looking at it like he should be backup. So in terms of if Martial's not fit, he should be playing.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Like, I don't mind Ighalo coming in because Ighalo's different. But what I'm saying is, if, for instance, United do get Sancho and you have Sancho, Martial, Rashford, if Martial is Charles Sparks in the building, if Martial's injured and Greenwood goes into that still remains a fluid front three. That's a problem.
Yeah. I think as well.
Go on.
With a full, so like, at the start of this season, he would have never been expected, even himself, to play as many games and score as many goals.
Yeah.
So I say going into a new season where you've got hopefully the Champions League, the FA Cup, the League Cup, the League. For me, next season he could be someone who plays 30 games. If Pereira plays 30 games, between 20 and 30 games, Greenwood would play 20 or 30 games between that number. Yeah. But I also feel with Greenwood playing 20 to 30 games, he'd probably get you about 15 goals. Probably get you a goal every 1 or 2 games. Do you know what I mean?
I hear what you're saying.
With playing enough minutes, he could be.
His goals to minutes ratio is different.
That's what I'm saying.
It's ridiculous.
For me, the type of player he is, how clinical he is.
Yeah.
And one thing I've always said about his clinical, his finishing ability. What makes him so clinical? He's very old-fashioned in the way that you can tell he does what he's always been taught to by a coach, where you aim for the corners
and shoot early.
Yes.
You mentioned this.
Yes, he's not. There's not many strikers who do this nowadays. But it's an old technique. It's to shoot early, and you aim for the corners.
Yeah,
it's like a Inzaghi type. You know what I mean? It's Italian finishing. I call it Italian finishing. That's how old school Italian strikers always used to.
Oh, what you mean when Serie A was Serie A,
Yes,
and like every team had a top marksman.
They're not really Italian strikers are never really fast. If you think about it, old school,
your Batistutas, your Tottis,
they're not lightning fast. Do you get what I mean? Your Vieiris, they're not lightning fast. But it's the clinical and they shoot. They know when
Del
to shoot.
Pieros.
Yes, Del Piero. They're not. These are not fast players. These are not strikers who run through on goal and score a lot of goals like that. A lot of their goals are they get the ball and it's one-touch finishing. You know what I mean? That is a lost art in football. I think a lot of players now want to take a touch and do a little something and make it look pretty. Whereas that's why I think Aguero's so effective. He does that. He gets the ball a lot of the time. There's not much Aguero doesn't do a step over, does he?
Yeah,
gets the ball,
shift it and shoot.
Shift, boom. Yeah. Do you get what
I think
I mean?
he was like that actually, even though he's a different player. Now you speak on him. Diego Costa. He was another one.
Yes.
Shift it and hit.
Yes, because he's not got that other aspect to his game.
Yeah.
So then he's honed that bit of his game, which is genius. Do you get what I mean? Because there's a lot of people who wouldn't have that and would struggle. But yeah, that's why I think Greenwood is someone who needs to play a lot more games because he's already got a style of play himself. He's got something about him, which I
get what you're saying.
Not a lot of players in our squad do.
I hear that. Terry, what's your thoughts on Greenwood?
I love the kid. I think he's going to be something very, very special. As you say, the interesting part, though, people screaming for him to play more. I can't wait for the reaction. He starts over and Martial. For them, that's going to be the equivalent of an unstoppable object hitting a immovable object because they're desperate for Greenwood to play. But he's a central striker. If we sign Sancho's playing on the right. Rashford's made that left side in. There's only one position on the pitch that Greenwood can become a regular in, the striker role. These people have made a career for themselves on social media, spending masterclass and it's best. I don't care. I just want the best players in the position in Man United to win. I don't care if it's Rashford, Pogba, De Gea that gets left. All I care about is we win. A lot don't. I can't wait for Greenwood to be a great player, but I'm really looking forward to the inner circle in fighting among United fans and more fake outrage, really.
Yeah, no, I fully understand what you're saying there, Terry, in terms of that. And I just want the best for Manchester United. Obviously, as a Manchester United fan. Stro, what's your thoughts on it? Let's get the non-United fans. What's your thoughts on Greenwood?
So, before people jump off the building and start saying, this is a stupid comparison, just let me explain it. It reminds me of Harry Kane in some aspects. So the reason why I say that is because Harry Kane is exactly what JD was saying was he's not built with incredible pace. He's strong, but he's very good at shifting the ball on both feet and just getting the shot off early. That's what we know Harry Kane for. He's a finisher. And you look at Mason Greenwood is of that mould. He's a natural finisher. He can shift the ball on either feet and he'll hit the target time after time with both feet. He's, for someone who looks quite lean, he's actually quite powerful when he's on the ball and once he's in motion. I like Mason Greenwood. For me, I'm more glad the fact that you aren't playing him more as a rival fan. But yeah, Mason Greenwood could go on to be one of the best players in the Premier League, given the right manager, the right push, the right backing. He's got all the different aspects in. Yeah, phenomenal talent.
And that's what I'm saying. And he will play more. I think he will, because obviously he won't be first choice. But I'm happy with him. I think, like I said, he should just be backup. Georgiev says it. Shout out Terry. Faris says, welcome Terry. Aiden Andrews says, Terry been putting in work still. Facts. That's facts.
Sound like Rafa Benitez. Facts.
Facts. Yeah.
I had a shirt with that on, when we won the title that year. My shirt said, I think it said Rafa Facts, and then the number of titles in the year. Anytime I'd ever made a shirt where I bantered on the back of it, I loved it. got into a fight with him because of that shirt. The Liverpool fan made a point of coming up to me and really getting in my face, thinking I was disrespecting Rafa. That was fine.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Like your manager when like lost the plot with that, like that fax rant.
I swear he took out like a bit of paper and unraveled a bit of paper and everything, wasn't it? It was sort of like he took it out, he took it out. Oh, it's amazing. It wasn't quite as good as Kevin Keegan, but it was close. It was close.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Is behind Kevin Keegan's. That's the second rant I remember from a manager. Like you'll never love it if we beat them, never. But that fax rant, I remember watching it and being like, yeah, Fergie's got you here.
Yeah,
I specifically remember. Yeah, I remember that specifically. Hayden Andrews says Salah has more goals and assists than Mane though. I think that's from the question when we was talking about when he asked who would you sell. Hayden Andrews says Liverpool's midfield is designed to be workmanlike. Yes. Genie bangs for Netherlands and less Hendo slander. Like the Hendo slander got to come when we talking about him for PFA Player of the Year and all these type of things.
I want to draw a line under this Hendo.
All right, go on.
Do you know why?
Go on.
Because if he wasn't playing for Liverpool, right, and because everyone's on this Liverpool bandwagon right now, I'd put that in a different way if he wasn't being so, politically correct.
Yeah, we on radio here.
Yeah.
People.
So it's very. I just can't imagine him getting this type of praise if he was playing for another top club in the league, because he wouldn't. No other top club's fans would be of the right mind to speak this highly of Henderson.
Yeah, like the thing is, the reason why I criticize him, I'll let you go, Terry, in a sec. Why I criticize him is because he is praised so highly, and it's like if they just left it and was like, he's a decent player, he does well for us, I'd be cool. The reason I slander him because they talk like he's one or two of their important players. He's not top 5 Liverpool players.
This is
like,
what I'm trying to say.
And the thing is, it's not even up for debate. You can't even argue.
Yeah.
You could argue he ain't top 10.
Bro,
we've
had this debate. We had Coppish on, and all he told me was he was hardworking. I'm not having it. If hard work gets you into the Player of the Year, there's plenty of Stoke players down the years who are kicking themselves at home right now.
Yeah.
This man, them Burnley man, right now in Burnley, going off the rails. Hard work, Player of the Year. They're going off the rails in Burnley now.
Facts when you got the likes of Ben Mee.
Yeah.
Them man put
Ben
it
Mee,
in.
all them man there. They're going off the rails right now. They're thinking, hard work, Player of the Year? What?
Them man do put it in. That's the funniest part. Them man do put it in.
Because you know what? I didn't hear this after that World Cup for England. And if we check this one out.
Go on.
What tournament was supposed to be now? The Euros?
Yeah.
I wish Corona didn't come. Because I would have loved to see this man play now for England.
Bro, do you know what?
Behind him.
Go on, Terry.
The point I was about to make. You know that Hendo isn't as talented as Wayne Rooney. You know that 110%. But Wayne Rooney suffered in an England shirt because he was playing Man United football his whole England career. And Fergie's brand of football was so superior to anything England ever tried to do. It diminished Rooney as a player. We go back and watch England play football. It was so basic, 4-4-2, old-fashioned English sort of style football. Rooney was used to playing with Ronaldo and Tevez and Paul Scholes and these guys. And it was fluid and it was beautiful. So he was hindered. It's a different kind of scenario, but the same thing's going to happen to Henderson. Henderson's going to end up being hated because he isn't going to be regarded as good as an England shirt as he is in the Liverpool one. Partly that's because the system isn't going to be there to support him. No one's going to be happy with him running around and being this workman like that he's there because they're not going to have. Well, we have got good attacking players, and we're going to have a good. It's just not going to work the same with Gareth Southgate as your manager compared to Jurgen Klopp. And we have got good players, but they're not as talented as the overall Liverpool squad, and he's going to stand out like a sore thumb. And it's different from Wayne Rooney. The system wasn't good enough for his ability. This is going to be more Henderson coming in as Player of the Year, probably the best player in England. He's going to come into the England team. He's not going to be able to run a midfield. And unless we create a system which is identical to Liverpool, where our fullbacks are our main playmakers, as an example, and we have an industrious midfield in the middle, I don't think we have 3 players that can play in the middle that are industrious. We've got Madisons and Grealishes. We don't have Genies, Firminos. Well, we have Hendo, of course. I just see that, and again, it's all going to just come crashing down on people. You build these people up and they come falling down. And as I say, it's a different scenario. Rooney's was because England didn't play the best. If the football England play now, Rooney would have thrived in. Rooney was 15 years too old for this. He should be coming through with this generation, if you get where I'm coming from, in terms of his ability and how he wanted to play. With Henderson, it's a slightly different scenario, but the same results are going to happen. He's going to play for England, and they're going to go, well, this guy was player of the year. That's when the hate's going to come.
Completely agree.
Yeah, so sorry about that, the pause there. Big S just what came in, and the super chat. This is the first ever super chat from a Fair Eye View Pie Radio, £10. So can we split that 3 ways, yeah? £3.33, hey, let's go. Yeah, let's go.
Vegan burgers on you tonight.
Run the check.
So yeah, someone is obviously for people with Terry on the Football Terrace, super chats are regular. This is our first, so Terry, yeah, it's great that you're here. It's great that you're here. We owe you a pint or
recognize
something.
this guy as well. This guy's done a few of mine before. I recognize him. Yeah.
What is it?
I'm not saying he's here because of me. I'm just saying I recognize the dude. There's a few that go channel to channel just super chatting. So yeah, you need a few of them. It's nice.
Yeah, man. So salute anyone. Obviously, super chats will read out straight away. So he said, sorry to say it.
Tax free as well. Tax free.
Yeah, tax free as well. Yeah, man. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Whoa. Let's go. He said, sorry to say it, but Ollie doesn't trust Martial. Ighalo tied down until January 2021. Ollie still wants Dembele or Timo. You asked United to act like a big club. Now you're getting one. Big up Pie Radio. The thing is with that, first again, salute for the, salute for the super chat, and obviously bigging up Pie Radio. With that, United acting like a big club doesn't necessarily mean signing big names and big players. That's not necessarily what it is. Just because United are in for us. If United went and signed a left back, I would be happy with United going to sign a left back because they are addressing an obvious problem.
So
it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be a big name. I'm just happy that they're trying to sign a left back. Same way they're trying to, if they went to go and sign a holding midfielder. Or to me, you're sorting a problem. Same way with a Sancho. You're sorting a problem. Obviously, I'm happy that it's Sancho, but that's how I look at it. Go on.
So
Go on,
what's
JB.
is my brother trying to say? As a big club, you only have to sign big players.
I don't know. That's what obviously he'll comment again, but that's what I'm guessing from his comment, because he said you asked United to act like a big club, now you're getting one. Because he's saying Ollie doesn't trust Martial and he still wants Dembele or Timo Werner, which obviously I don't know.
That makes no sense. Ollie doesn't trust Martial, so he's buying a backup striker. Do you get what I'm saying? He's not buying someone Ighalo who is replacing Martial, and he's not buying someone. He's looking for a Dembele because guess what? He might be looking for a Dembele because Martial is an interchangeable player. He can play different positions. So we don't know what formation he's looking at behind closed doors.
True.
He might have the way we're talking about saying, bringing in Werner and doing this and that with Firmino. He could have something in his mind thinking like that for us. Do you get what I'm saying?
I hear you.
So, or it could be a case of he's thinking of a big player. He's thinking of United as a big club because you need more than one. At the moment, we've got one standout centre forward as Martial. We've got one week to week reliable centre forward. Greenwood is still a youth player. Do you know what I mean? And Ighalo is a backup. So for me, it makes perfect sense getting another centre forward because then you've got two reliables, a youth prospect, and a backup. So for me, that makes perfect sense.
I know what you're saying.
Do you get what I mean? It's one of them because people will say, they'll say that about us, but then they're not saying that about Liverpool getting Werner. Or they're not saying that about Liverpool buying a centre mid every year.
I hear you.
When Henderson's player of the year. Do you know what I mean? And just back on that Henderson.
Yeah, I need to put an end to that.
That's a cheap shot.
It's not.
Don't get me wrong. I'm all for it because it's thoroughly deserved. But that was a cheap shot.
It's the same thing. They're literally going to win the league with this front three.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're trying to buy another striker.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And then man aren't saying, no, not one person in the media, apart from me, is addressing that they're buying another striker because Firmino's not banging in goals. No one's addressing that point. That is totally like, if Firmino's banging in goals, they're not buying a 50 million striker.
Do you know what comes down to as well, though, with Man United fans? It's this. some of them are so obsessed with Martial making it. They, as individual people, want to say, I'm right. And in the media become very lazy. They look at what trends on socials and they run with it. Get what I mean? Like, Lindelof got shoulder barge of a ball today, a fake outrage mob, moan about it on socials, and it's a little feature on every single newspaper. And I'm like, you realize this happens in training every day to the top centre backs where they'll get done in a tackle or they'll be late into it. It's training; these things happen, but it's like the media pick up on it because the media pick up on it because fans pick up on it. And on the Martial thing, like I've said, I want Martial to bang. I want him to do well. I rate the guy. But if we sign Dembele and he knocks him out of the position, or if we start Greenwood and we start, as long as we're doing well, there should be no moaning. I just get a little sense and a little feeling deep down inside we wouldn't. But people won't. They will. They'll moan whatever happens, and they'll find a reason to be angry and nasty because it's just in the nature now of these narcissists. It's a shame, really. But yeah, Liverpool do need another striker. And I don't even think it's a Firmino thing. It's because Brewster isn't going to be good enough, and that's the fact that he's been loaned out now. It says it. And Divock Origi, he scored 2 really important goals for Liverpool. He's a brilliant bloke. I've met him. I've spoke to him. He's a great guy. But again, he's not good enough. Timo Werner just improved Liverpool overnight compared to the 2 backups they've got.
Nah, that's facts. I agree with that, Terry. Thoroughly, agree with what you're saying in terms of, I don't understand why people so badly want to be right on certain players. It's like, what's best for the team? I'm a big Martial fan, but like you said, if Dembele came in or Timo Werner came in and was better than Martial, I'm not going to be like, we should be playing Martial. No, the team, it's all about results.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care what 11 is on the pitch as long as it's getting results. I shut up.
Exactly.
If it's on the pitch getting results. But one sec, Stro, I know sorry to cut you off there. You got a point on Henderson, haven't you? So go on, say what you got to say. And we will get to the questions as well, people. Go on, Stro.
Yeah, so I've touched on this a number of times. It's, when, for example, obviously we've all played Saturday, Sunday League, and you've got the awards ceremony. That award for its most improved player. That is why Jordan Henderson's getting PFA Player of the Year. And this is coming from a Liverpool fan, and you know me, YouTube, I keep it all the way 100. If you look at Jordan Henderson's career over the past couple of years, he's just been a solid player. Solid 6, 7, 8 out of 10 certain games. He's just a solid player, and you see him in that midfield. It's very robust. He does his job. He works incredibly hard. But the fact that he's now started to add a few goals and assists, and he's started to have more of an impact on the team, when you first look at the Liverpool team, that stands out more because you don't expect anything from Jordan Henderson. You expect Mane to pull off these absolute worldies and score really important goals. The exact same with Mohamed Salah. You expect Van Dijk to be the colossus that he is, and you expect Alisson to stop goals. No one really expects much from Henderson. So the fact that he's having a more improved season than he's normally had, that's the reason he's up for PFA Player of the Year. He's not our top player this season. That's Mane or Salah, even though Salah is the top goal scorer in every competition. Mane, for me, has been the better player. Van Dijk's had more of an impact. Joe Gomez, no one even talks about this, but we were struggling defensively at the beginning of the season. Joe Gomez gets put back next to Virgil van Dijk, and we then can, out of 11 games, we have 9 clean sheets, and now we've got the best defensive record with him at the back. He's had more of an impact than Jordan Henderson. It's just everyone wants to jump on making Jordan Henderson the best player in the Premier League when he's not, and he won't be. And this is coming from a Liverpool fan, and it drives me insane when I see him compared to Steven Gerrard, Scholes, and players like that, because he's never going to be of that ilk. He's not that player. He's just a solid, reliable player. He is literally James Milner. That's what he is. Just a solid, reliable player.
Yeah, and I agree with that in terms of him being James Milner. That's how I look at it.
Milner is a better player.
Yeah, he's a better version of it, but he's that type.
He's a B-Tech James Milner. James Milner is a way better player than Henderson. If anything, people would probably respect it more. Yeah, if Milner was getting the credit what Henderson gets, people would respect that more. Of course. I believe that, and the whole fact that him getting that vote is it's a sympathy vote. Him getting that vote is a sympathy vote. It's almost like when Modric got the Ballon d'Or. It's becoming a culture now. Yeah. Everyone's a bit bored of voting for the top player. I want to be known as that person who voted for so and so.
Yeah, they want to be a bit more nice with it. Yeah. But I hear what you're saying. Mr. Football Obsessive 181813 says Terry plus Stro. Terry plus Stro on the same show. I've been waiting for this. Would love to see this crossover more. Yeah, man, we'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. Definitely. Two people who know.
It's true. We're going to get. I was actually going to ask you later. We do a Liverpool podcast on Tuesday nights if you're up for it. So we'll get you on.
Yo, Stro, we can't hear you. You muted one sec. You muted yourself, Stro.
I said, yeah, 100%, man. It'd be a pleasure to come on your show. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'll reach out. We'll get it.
Yeah, now I'm actually I'm a tune into that. Obviously,
man, we're like the Avengers, bro. Just link everyone up and that. Oh, you don't know Wolverine? Oh yeah, Wolverine. Yeah, Hulk Wolverine. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Captain America, you don't know Black Widow? Oh yeah, come here. We just link everyone up, bro.
You're a fool. You
know what I'm saying?
You're a fool, and what I'm laughing at hard people. Obviously, we was on that United show. Well, I was on that United show with Terry and Aaron yesterday. Vils is obviously normally on with us as well, and Terry had tweeted out. And it was, this is Pogba and Bruno in training. And it was literally Captain America and Thor in the final scene, well, one of the final scenes of Endgame. And they both throwing the hammers to each other. I literally watched Endgame yesterday. Literally watched it last night.
Yeah.
Literally watched it. Josh Waring
makes me sad, though, you know. Makes me sad. Makes me sad in game.
You know what? It is a sad film.
I'm so upset with it. I haven't been able to watch the new Spider-Man yet. I can't. I'm heartbroken. I'm terrible. No.
It's real. It is, because you know what it is, Terry. It's like losing when you're into Marvel, like I am and you are. It's like losing a family member when someone passes in it.
Yeah, it's anything I watch becomes sort of season or series, like whether it be Marvel, Breaking Bad, Power. I hated Siamese cat walking on my back fence. I'm annoyed. I killed a rat yesterday that was pestering everything. And now I'm thinking, where was this cat yesterday? Anyway, sorry. Sorry, just threw me. Like, but you know, like from Lady and the Tramp, the cartoon, we are Siamese. That was a proper one of them. Doing thing. But yeah, any kind of film that kind of 2, 3, 4, 5 films on the bounce, Harry Potter be another. When they come to the end, it makes me sad. I get so invested, and then I'm like, oh, it's finished, it's over.
I understand.
Sad.
No, trust me, I am with you with the Marvel stuff. I am with you. Like, I thoroughly invested in Marvel. I know this is a football show, but I get it. I understand, man. I understand. Josh Waring says Terry with the bars. Yeah, I think he was cracking up at something you said there, Terry, previously.
Yeah, I think I was talking about the things that I'm no longer allowed to talk about because I'm radio.
Oh, yeah. That's what it is. Because someone literally here said, calm down, Terry, ha, ha, ha. Faris said, I'm not moaning at all. To me, Ighalo is a fantastic second-choice striker. I'm very pleased and satisfied regarding that deal. I think that's every United fan viewing it. Like, everybody who is level-headed, who's level-headed. Real. That's the word I was looking for, level-headed. Andrew Ellis said, where's Kirkland? Yeah, he's not coming on today, but we are going to, Stro is going to reschedule it. So, yeah, we've been managed to get him on.
Come up, people, you know
which
how
happens.
it is.
Yeah, man, this is live radio, live
hamstring.
No, man, I said, did he pull a hamstring? You know? You're the worst.
Sorry, Chris. Sorry.
Yeah, Faith Dougal says, hi, how are you? Yeah, we all good. I think that's a bot account, but yeah. Whatever, I'm good. I think everyone else is blessed because there's no picture. You feel me? It's some cartoon picture. That's why. That's what it is. I'm saying that every opportunity he's trying to get a striker. Haaland in January, Ighalo in January, Werner, Dembele in the summer. I just think he can't trust Martial to stay fit. That's the thing. Martial's fitness is, to me, that's how I look at it. That's the only thing that can stop United is, especially Martial, Pogba, and Bruno. Martial, Pogba, and Rashford all seem to get injuries frequently. Yeah. They all seem to get. That's my only issue with it. So hopefully that can be sorted out because they always seem to get niggling injuries and be out for a while.
Do you know what it is for me with a lot of our injuries? I said this for years.
Yeah.
I feel like it's since Fergie left. Something wrong with our medical team. We've apparently got the best medical team, but we get a lot of injuries. It doesn't add up.
Yeah, it don't add up.
They tell us our facilities are the best. We've got the best with it. But I swear to you.
We might have the best facilities, but we might not have the best people. Yeah, but we've seen that with the Pogba
That's
situation.
What it is, man. We've got the best kitchen, but we've got the Macca chefs. You know what I'm saying? That's That's what it's like, though, isn't it? We got the best kitchen, but the chef said dead.
Nah, facts.
So
that's facts.
Because it's not just like little injuries.
Yeah.
Someone is always getting like a 3-month, 4-month, boom.
Yes,
we
that's what I'm
hit
saying.
With like an injury where they're out for ages.
Yeah.
It's not one of them where they miss 2 matches.
And then they back.
Yeah.
Nah, I get what you're saying. And that's why I look at it. Green Prodigy also says, thoughts on Lingard moving to Serie A this summer? Him changing agent to Raiola just screams he's leaving United in the summer. Terry, I'll let you answer that one first.
Do you know what? I always feel sorry for Jesse because I feel like, again, if he was 15 years older, he'd have just been a good squad player. We'd all liked him. He's quite cool. He's a funny guy sometimes. He's a nice guy. But the problem is, because of the state of our club, he becomes someone that was a first-team regular and isn't good enough to carry us back to the levels we're at. So I think people's view on him is very distorted because of the scenario we're in, as opposed to the quality. I think he's every bit as good as a Darren Fletcher, John O'Shea level player. He just doesn't have the quality wrapped around him to cover his inefficiencies and inability. In terms of him leaving, I think it's the right thing for him to do because his cards are marked at the club now. Rightly or wrongly, people, they have, like Phil Jones, like Ashley Young, all those players, the fans so desperately want them out. There's almost nothing he could do to turn it around. If he went on a good month and scored 3 or 4 goals, a few assists, he'd get praised. But then if he went 2 games without doing anything, it'd be bang, straight back on it again. So yeah, for me, I think he's right to, maybe get a bit of money for him, move out there. Less pressure and abuse for him and his family, which I know he suffered a lot of, which is again disgusting. But I think he's done at United if they can find a buyer.
Exactly that. That's the truth. And I think they would find a buyer. And like you said, if he was 15 years older, he would have just been a good squad player, and he can be that now. That's what I'm saying. And we've seen what he can do in the correct system. Like, there's a reason he still lives in Arsenal's fans' heads rent free. Like this man danced twice at the Emirates. Firstly, Millie Rock. That Millie Rock was A1, by the way. Like, that was an on-point Millie Rock. Yeah. It really was an A1.
I'm surprised no rapper didn't get him in no music videos after that one. Yeah.
That Millie Rock was A1, and then he moonwalked. You know what I mean? He moonwalked.
MJ would have been proud of that one. MJ did a hit for that one there,
Yeah, he moonwalked on grass. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly, bro.
And then there's a picture of it, and you see all the Arsenal fans giving him stick, and DT and Troops are in the crowd. You can see it. Like, that was at the Arsenal end. It was just great.
But do you know what it is, though, yeah? With Lingard.
Yeah, go on.
I said this. I think I said this to you the other day. I was watching Euro 96 the other day, yeah? And it had man like Steve Stone and them man there, yeah?
Oh, you mean McManaman?
And McManaman. Nah, McManaman was a good player on the pitch at that time. But a lot of these man... And
Jamie Redknapp.
I was watching it, yeah. I was watching it, I was thinking, Lingard would have been a legend in this generation. And I think he's one of those players, he doesn't really suit this generation. He suits a more workman-like generation. Because when I'm watching these David Batties and all these man there, like, I'm like, wow. Like, that was an eye-opener for me. I was too young when it was that Euro 96. So I was just watching it. I didn't understand football. But me watching these man technically, like, someone like a Lingard in that team. See, Gaza in that team, no wonder man hyped Gaza so much. Don't get me wrong, Gaza was cold. He was the only one who could do some sort of skills.
Because there was Shearer, Sheringham.
Sheringham was the only other one who was like silky like that.
Yeah. Everyone else looked like they had bricks in the football boots.
Like, you had Stuart Pearce, Tony Adams, Gareth Southgate, Gary Neville.
You know what they looked like they did before the match?
Yeah, go on.
Dip the foot in concrete.
In cement.
In some wet concrete, in some wet cement now, yeah, and ran on the pitch. Everything just looks heavy, bro. Heavy.
One thing I want to say about that, actually, because we've shown Euro 96, and obviously this is the first time I'd watched that England-Scotland game, and obviously it's hyped up because of Gascoigne's goal. That game was terrible,
Terrible.
From an entertainment perspective. Like, it was terrible.
I hyped this up to my kids, Man hyped this to my kids, These man looked at, I could see my son looking at me like, my dad, all right? You all right,
really
Dad?
was.
Halfway through the match and that, because that whole tournament, obviously the other teams were pretty good.
Yeah.
But the standard of football, technically, this is like, I'm not just talking England either, overall has come a very long way.
I'll tell you what, boys, that's what I said already. That's why a lot of these Man United players from the era struggled. And I'm thinking the Arsenal boys as well, once Wenger came in, because we were playing football that was European standard, world standard, modern football. But England was still, basically a glorified rich man's Sam Allardyce style. And I don't think they fitted to it. It's why nobody recognised how good Paul Scholes and Michael Carrick were, just because they weren't. Oh, they don't. Oh, Scholes, he crashed into tackles sometimes, but it wasn't that they weren't your sort of blood, sweat, and thunder type England players, and that's what everybody like a bit of pace or good crosses on the wing. We need an hard man up front who scares oppositions. You know, even Teddy Sheringham wasn't respected like he should have been. He was a cultured baller. Matt Letizia never near an England squad. Why? Because he didn't fit the bill. And that's the thing for me. I used to watch England so much in that era, and yeah, I'm always up for it as an Englishman. I enjoyed it. But I look back now and I'm like, the football, everything was dead. And we had we had lots of quality players here and there, but we never picked the right players. You know, when you're playing Paul Scholes on the left wing, because you want two very gifted players in the middle, and Lampard and Gerrard, but not as gifted at controlling the tempo of game as him, it demonstrates for me that you don't know what you're doing. And even when we had the foreign managers come in, I was so happy about that. I thought, oh, we'll inject a bit of that understanding. And it was almost like they just came in and were like, oh, we're just going to, imagine if you were to go out and say, right, I'm sick and tired of roast dinners and fried breakfast, right? What I want to do is I want to get a new chef in my house, and I'm going to bring in a guy from Italy. You're thinking of the pasta and the breads and the sauces. First day, he goes, here you go, shepherd's pie with no seasoning. I'm thinking, what is this? I want you in for your culinary. I want you. And this is we're going to get a little political now. It's one of the things I love about this country. It's built upon immigration. A lot of our favorite foods and favorite drinks and pastimes have come from, some things have come from worse, not so much immigration. Some things have been stolen. But what my point is that there are lots of things. I love that. We've got Italian restaurants, Indian restaurants, Caribbean restaurants. It's come here and it's amazing, right? If I go to a Caribbean restaurant, as an example, I don't want toad in the hole. Do you get what I mean? And I felt like that when we brought those England managers in. It was like, I want to see European football. I want toad in the hole. I'll go for one that does that. Do you get where I'm coming from? And it's like, that's what annoyed me about the guys. It bothered me. And that's why now, Southgate isn't going to be the greatest manager ever. We play a much more modern style of football now under him. And I just feel bad. I think the Gerrards and I think the Coles, and I'm talking Joko and Ashley Cole here, the Wayne Rooneys, the Paul Scholes, they would have I wish they were in this era now with the way we're starting to play football. You know, our youngsters coming through at all levels now in the UK are technically gifted in comparison to the years before that. You're not going to get Steve Stones anymore. You know, John O'Shea's aren't going to play for Man United anymore. It's gone to a new level now of technical ability. And I don't mean that disrespectfully about those players because they were good. But yeah, you got look back at that football now. It is just Stone Age and built on, blood, sweat, tears, and too much beer.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Like, you hit the nail on the head there. Obviously, the toad in the hole cracked us all up. But yeah, like, that's facts. Yeah. Like, if you did bring in an Italian chef and then he brought you shepherd's pie, like, with no seasoning, you'd be like, yeah, what's this? Come through the comments. We are getting through the comments, people, as quick as we possibly can. Georgiev says, Henderson is player of the season because he is English and is a captain and leader. Literally not because of footballing ability. Shows you how broken the system is.
Yep.
He's got a fair point still. All I want to say is people was talking up Henderson, for PFA player of the year. And then the universe took all sports away. I'm just saying that's not
blasphemy, bro.
Yeah, that's not a debate.
Blasphemy, bro.
It's really not a debate. Like,
because
I literally remember seeing the tweet about it, and then next day it was kind of like, yeah, we're in lockdown, coronavirus, etc., etc. Go on.
God must like football. He's saying, I made all these man talented.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's also that. I remember the guy who was playing with Kaka up in London. And he asked Kaka to cut the ball back to him. That also. Yeah. Those two things, God was like, you might have taken liberties. Yeah. Imagine you're gonna ask Kaka to cut the ball back. Yo, give him the ball. Be like, yo, you just do your thing.
You know what he is? He had the disrespect to Meg him as well.
Yeah, he did not make him. Yeah.
Come on, bro. Have the respect. Don't Meg Kaka, bro. You know what I'm saying? Don't just leave it. Come on, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's disrespect.
All sorts of weirdness. Deontay Wilder saying he's going to fight Tyson Fury for a third time. That's all been stopped now as well. It's like, no, that ain't happening.
Yeah, that's
got the sporting gods have stopped a lot of things from happening. They didn't stop Liverpool winning the league, though. But,
yeah, that's true.
Can't get it all.
Thank God for that.
You can't get it all. Hey, the only good thing about Liverpool winning the league is it'll be in an empty stadium. That's it. That's the only thing.
What? It'll be at the Etihad?
No, it'll be in the I said in the oh, Jesus guy. You're a fool, you know. You're a fool. I thought for a second you misheard what I said.
God.
No,
You're a
I
whole
knew
fool.
exactly where he was going with
Yeah,
that.
man said it'd be at the Etihad and
You know
that.
what? I
Yeah,
better shut
serious.
up, you know.
Yeah, they'd be at the Etihad. Yeah, the
down
same.
there.
Yeah, the same fans will get to you. Innit? I just want to say again, the views are from a Third Eye View. Are the views are from a Third Eye View and
Here we
not
go.
Pie Radio. Just have to put that out there.
I love you, really, City fans,
Yeah.
man. I love he's from Man User in my side and that. I grew up with City.
Yeah.
Main road and that. Yeah.
Henderson is player of the season. Oh yeah, we already did that. Stro, if Hendo didn't cover Trent, would Trent be Trent?
What? If
He
Hendo
said-
didn't cover Trent,
Trent
of
would
course
Trent
he
be
would.
Trent. I seen how he put it.
Because yeah, no. So you look at Trent as a player. He's technically ridiculously gifted. I mean, you look at some of the games, the Man City game, for example, where he switches the ball for Salah's goal. His left foot, it's a 60-yard pass directly in the path of Robertson who's running. He's got different passing ranges. His vision's out of this world. And yeah, to be honest, he probably is wasted at right back. He could play centre mid. He could play defensive mid. I mean, the kid's phenomenal. And I remember when he first made his debut at Old Trafford, everyone was like, why is Klopp putting in a player like that in such a big game? Because obviously the biggest game in England, like it or not, City fans will always be due to the history of Liverpool United, and he didn't look out of place. And you look at the Champions League final when we lost to Madrid, was, if you go back and watch that game, Ronaldo had a relatively quiet game and Trent had an unbelievable game, and he's still 2021. He's not yet hit his peak. He's just going to keep getting better and better. Trent's going to be Trent. He's phenomenal talent.
Yeah, that's a fair point to make on him. Then that's a fair point. Obviously, with you being a Liverpool fan, the Liverpool people in the Liverpool comments are gonna ask you them questions. Faris says here, I think Trent Alexander-Arnold can play that inside right midfield role, similar to KDB at Manchester City, whipping excellently accurate and weighted balls to the far post, creating tap-ins. A lot of big words there, Faris. You over here testing my English and that. A lot of big words. Man got through that, but yeah. Yeah, and he said, do you lot agree? All right, so we'll start with you, Terry. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think there's quite a bit of truth in that as well. Yeah, he used a lot of big words there. He definitely hit the right click button on the mouse. And was like, all right, how do I change that word? I do that. I know he does it. I've used the word energy twice. What better word than energy can I use? Just use the thesaurus. Yeah, I think that's the right thing for Trent to do. I won't say he's wasted a right back because of what he's doing. I just think you could strengthen things further. Because if you look at, I don't want to be harsh to Hendo. Hendo finds himself quite a bit on the right hand side. Hendo finds himself, covering defensively. If you put Trent into that position, there's an element of he can get forward and create where he needs to, but he can also cover the fullback when they go forward because he's defensively trained. So I just feel you can almost kind of hybrid the role a little bit, make it a little more attacking. Well, make it quite a bit more attacking than Hendo's is. But there are times when actually, if the fullback has bomb forward, then he knows to sit back, and you've got somebody with excellent defensive abilities. I mean, I just think it fits. I think it fits perfectly.
Yeah, nah, I hear what you're saying. I agree with that in terms of, I could see him not even necessarily being like he could play the KDB role because he has that type of crossing and passing range. It'll be interesting to see how Klopp does deploy him. But then again, obviously Liverpool's system is different to City's system. So it depends how, because if he's playing that, you could possibly play, Klopp could put him in that 3 and play him in there rather than them go and sign a 9. Like, to me, he adds that attacking threat that they miss from there, that creativity there.
I think even asking that question is giving Henderson too much credit. This is the type of thing what is doing my head in.
Yeah, go on.
Does Henderson make Trent a better? What you on about? Trent's Trent. Henderson. What? So because he's got someone in front of him running around, does that make him? Come on, man. I'm had enough of this whole Henderson thing.
I think he's legit talking about like him covering him when Trent goes forward. I understand.
So a man just stands in your place.
Yeah.
A man stands in your place. Is that what we're getting now? Is this what's getting man player of the year? A man is standing in your place. Yeah? No.
Get off your chest.
Man's just standing in your place.
Oh my
God. If I get someone to just, right, you know what, next week, I'm just going to get a guy to just cover me. Yeah? So this guy's just going to sit here in this seat, yeah? And try and do this show, yeah? And because he did this show, does that make me a better prisoner? What are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
No, Henderson.
You know what, as well?
Yeah,
A
go on,
great
Terry.
analogy. You see, if you like war films and stuff, right? You get the guy who dodges 4 or 5 bullets. He runs through a crowd of people. He grabs the young girl that's being shot at by the sniper. He runs back through no man's land. He's being shot at. Bullets are going past his head. He does like a roll here, a dive there, and he brings her to safety. But he's been shot. He's wounded, and he's the hero. He's the hero, not the guy that provided some cover fire. Do you get what I mean?
Nah,
That's what I think about it. It's like Henderson covering Trent is important to Liverpool's system, but you could find another player to cover that hole. The point is, Trent's the irreplaceable one. Van Dijk's almost irreplaceable. Mane irreplaceable. Firmino, I think, is a lot more irreplaceable than people give him credit for. With Henderson, like, I think you could probably go through and find 10 players in the Premier League that you could just go, yeah, he'll come and do that job. Scott McTominay could replace him tomorrow, and you wouldn't see a great deal of difference, in my opinion. And I just think you would.
I get what you're saying, because it's that hard work element and just covering and just being a grafter, which is good to have. Like, you need that. You need them functional players, but they're not the most important part of it. Like, to me, he's replaceable.
You know, there's one person in the world who's probably more wound up than me about this. Arsene Wenger.
Go on, why? Go on.
He hated Darren Fletcher's bones. So this now, he hated the bones of Darren Fletcher. Don't remember? They have a player just to kick someone? You don't remember that back in the day? So right now with this Henderson thing, I know he's just spitting fire.
Oh, yeah.
To me, yeah, I swear to you, I wish I could go back in time and hit some sort of button and Corona don't happen. And we have this Euros now and Henderson's getting all this and we see he would have exposed himself.
The thing is, we already seen his deficiencies, though, is that because Liverpool have had such a good season, people forget that. I said this, the semi-final, England-Croatia. If you switch them midfields, you put Modric and Rakitic in England's team, and Henderson, and who was the other midfielder?
One of them. If you put
one of them, that, to me, England win that game. That's where that midfield, that's where that was won and lost to me, that game. That's where it was won and lost, but people kind of look over that because Liverpool have had such a phenomenal season and try and give him credit. Faris says there, let's give Jesse Lingard another season and evaluate the situation then. He's recently spoken about his recent bad form. Yeah, we've all touched on Jesse Lingard, and yeah, like, I would keep him. That's just me personally.
One thing I'd say with the whole if he's going abroad thing, possibly if he's going to Italy,
he'll do well over there.
He'd smash Italy, bro. Ashley Young's looking like a player revitalized. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He'd smash Italy. Pressure.
That's what it is. And you know what? We spoke about it earlier with the pressure thing. Having no fans, I think we could see that improve Lingard massively. His form, because there's no pressure on him.
No boos.
There's no boos on him.
Probably, you know what? As much as he's a United player, a lot of his pressure at games is probably coming from United fans.
No, I hear that. Yeah, Faris says it'll be at the Etihad. He's laughing at you saying it'll be at the Etihad. He's laughing about that. D-Miz Mob says Trent is sick, can't lie. Yeah, Trent's cold. Yeah, no one's saying that. D-Miz Mob says Terry. Oh, that's because we're working on the problems. That's what it is. We're just muting mics as we're talking and things like that. This is all new to anyone who's listening in. This is the first time me and JV have been in the studio doing the show. Like, so we're all here trying to work this out.
With the new tech.
Yeah, man, the new tech. Yeah, we trying to get there to put on a better show for our users. That's why we bring on illustrious guests and things of that nature. We getting there. Faris says, I didn't use a thesaurus. Nah, keep going. I was just clowning in it. It's all good. Georgie F says here, this is a goodie. Thoughts on what United's midfield three would be? Obviously, Bruno and Pogba. Who would be the third guy? Fred, Matic, McTominay, or possibly another signing? Terry, I'll let you take this one away.
Fred, closely followed by Scotty Mac. It could depend on different games, but I think Fred's been so good since October. He really has. He's shut my mouth. I didn't think he was a United player. Proved me wrong. Very, very happy to be wrong on that. And yeah, he deserves his place in that team as an example. Scotty Mac, though, he's breathing down his neck and everybody's neck at Man United. I just think there's such a player in there. Matic, rate him, good career, back up now. And maybe I know they extended his contract. We'll see if we sign somebody else. But yeah, that's what I would do. The possible signings thing, I just feel that I want to give Fred and McTominay a little bit more time to see how much better they can become. And with Bruno and Pogba, as I say, that's, it's end game, baby. End game.
Literally end game. For me on that, obviously Bruno and Pogba, definitely no doubt. And then the third, you have to go with Fred to me. But in terms of the signing, yes, I do believe United need a holding midfielder. Obviously, Terry touched on it in terms of Matic now being backup and him being a backup holding midfielder. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. I want United to get Thomas Partey. Spoke about this openly on, I think, every show I've been on. Like, he is the guy for me. Like, there's no... The same way with his right side, everyone's talking Sancho. To me, it's Thomas Partey. He's got a minimum fee release clause. Like, I don't understand why you would not go and get him.
I can't see that clause standing for too much longer if no one don't get him as well.
Yeah, because obviously I know over in Spain, that's what's it called?
Mandatory.
It's mandatory, you have to have one. But I'm just surprised it's so low.
Yeah.
But it's like, go and get
What
him.
is it, like 52 or something?
Something like that. It's something cheap. Like, what's the name of the? We spoke on it earlier. See, that's how you know. Oh, we're almost closing out the show. What's the name of the guy who yesterday put out the tweet? We literally spoke on him. Was it Sound Guess?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like he being at Atletico Madrid, and it's like, just go get Thomas Partey to me.
Do you know what it is? I think they will only sell one of them. I don't think Atletico will sell them
both. Just go get him. Like, he
So,
fits the bill. Like, I don't
whichever one
understand.
goes first. You know what I mean?
I don't understand. Like, I'm still trying to figure it out. I don't understand. And Stro, what's your thoughts on it?
Fred. I think McTominay's got the potential to be a really, really good player for Manchester United. But I just look back at when Hughes came to Anfield. Fred was phenomenal that day. He was your best player by a long way. He was everywhere. He was plugging gaps. And listen, you've seen it. The media criticism. I remember Gary Neville on, I think it was Monday Night Football, basically saying that, can he even pass the ball? This was only 6-7 months ago. And like Terry said, he's proved so many people wrong. That is he good enough to be a Manchester United player? Current moment, yes, he is. He's probably one of your most informed players. It's got to be Fred. And don't get me wrong, I really like McTominay. I just think that he still needs honing in a bit. He's still young, he's still learning. Good thing is, obviously, he's going to be getting a lot of international experience when he plays for Scotland, which is, a lot of people might overlook it, but that's a big thing, because you're going away to some mad places, and just for his character and his experience, that'll help him massively. Matic was great when he was at Chelsea. He's not really got the legs for me anymore in big games. Like, if you were to play Matic at Anfield as one of the two, I'd love that. Whereas if you were to play Fred, I'd be like, yeah, midfield for you, probably going to have to be on the game today. But yeah, it's definitely got to be Fred.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that is the general consensus for the season, for the Premier League coming back, is Fred. But when you think in long term, I'm thinking, I want Bruno and Pogba to go express themselves. That's me. So I'm like, let them go express themselves. They need that insurance policy. Obviously, Fred's quality, don't get me mistaken. I'm looking at, there's nothing wrong with competition for places. So having Scott McTominay there, because I rate Scott McTominay, but do I believe he will go on and improve to become a Manchester United first teamer? No. But I believe he could be a very good squad player. He could be Lingard.
No, I think he's.
You reckon he's first team?
I think the level what he's at now is on a par with Lingard's best for United. I think he's at the level now where any big game, and I mean any big game, if Scott McTominay is one of our midfield three, I am not phased at all. I wouldn't see him as a weak link. I'd see him as someone who could actually help us win the game by doing a job on someone else.
Yeah, if he's going to play as the holding midfielder, for instance, and you have Bruno or Pogba in there, yeah, how disciplined he is at that role, I'm unsure. That's what I see. Because I look at it with midfielders, not so much Scott McTominay, but to me, and obviously Terry and Stro can give their thoughts on it. Midfielders seem to be able to get away, especially central midfielders, without being very good at anything. Like, if you're a central defender, people look at your defending. If you can't defend, don't matter what else you can do. Same with fullbacks. People look at defensive, attacking midfielders. Can you create? Can you score goals? Wingers the same. Strikers the same. Seems with midfield, you cannot be really great at anything, and people will be like, yeah, he's quality. It don't happen nowhere else on the pitch.
But you can be
Jordan Henderson, a Jordan Henderson level player is never being mentioned for a PFA if he's a striker. No chance.
Yeah, no.
Or a goalkeeper or a centre back.
Not even Henderson to make it clear. It's not the Henderson hate show. Even a McTominay level player.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that's my thing with McTominay. I look at it and I'm like, you're solid across the board. I'm with it. But I'm looking at, if you're going to be first teamer for Manchester, where do you excel? Defensively, you're solid, but he's not great. Going forward, or pitch him with a goal, but he's not great. So that's why I look at him as a squad player. But it's interesting. Terry, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I rate Scott. I think he's a bit more talented than yourselves maybe giving him credit for. But equally, with the rest that are in with him, I still put him down as maybe third choice, but more likely fourth choice because I think Fred's ahead of him. But he's got more room to move, and I think there'll be rotation. There'll be 50 odd games a season we play across all competitions. That'll be important. And then there's an element of horses for courses. So going away to Man City and Liverpool, we may have a week where we say, right, actually, we're not gonna go 4-3-3 as an example. We might pack the midfield more. So you might actually have Bruno, Pogba, Fred and McTominay starting some kind of diamond, and then play split strikers. So you play like Rashford and Martial up top, or Rashford and Sancho up top, and they split as an example. So there's a number of different ways that you can play to get game time for these individuals. But it's and this is why I'm so excited about the season returning. You're suddenly sitting there and thinking, we've got options. The Bruno inclusion and Pogba returning, suddenly we have options, and there's a case of, I feel sorry leaving somebody out. 6 months ago, I felt sorry picking these players. So the difference is night and day. And I think that's testament to Ollie for keeping everybody's heads focused and working hard. Brilliant work by the club bringing in Bruno. And we already know what Pogba and Rashford can do. And you throw them back into this team and it's starting to feel dangerous. You then go to the summer, and if you can add a couple more players who have, a Dan James level player as backup and two more first teamers that can come in and have the impact that AWB or Bruno have done. And look, we're not going to catch Liverpool straight away, but suddenly we're a team that I sit there and go, we are top four shoe-in as long as we're top four shoe-in if we do that. We've got too many talented players at a young age. And do you know what? This isn't about like P&P. Oh, we've got loads of power, loads of pace. That's there. But our players are technically gifted, cultured footballers. There's no one who's a tap and run merchant. Maybe Dan James a bit in terms of that. Aside from that, we've got genuine ballers across the park with a few more signings. It's going to make us a very dangerous animal.
Yeah, facts. That's what it is. And yeah, with McTominay, I could see him, like, if he does come in and he does play the odd game, or like you said, horses for courses, or plays in a diamond, I'm with it. I just wouldn't like to see him first team week in, week out. But like him being involved in the squad, yeah, and he could prove me wrong, and I hope he does, and he improves at an exceptional rate, and he becomes defensively brilliant or going forward. Because to me, you need them players though, because he's one of them who, if he's on the bench, he's not going to kick up a fuss if he's on the bench for 3, 4, 5 games. Like, he's one of them. Like, he can come in and do a job, not to the level of Nicky Butt. You see what I'm saying? Like, I
think he could be, because Nicky Butt was a very high level. He's just was surrounded by absolute superstars.
Yeah, he was literally with the best midfield we've ever seen in the country.
The one thing that you always don't notice with him is that one of them could have been out and he could play, and we'd still play to that same level. He didn't reduce the level of the team. Yep. And that's where I think McTominay is at that level now, where, and I'd like to see it with better players now.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay doing that when you've got other players, but I now think with the midfield of Bruno and Pogba, and then this front three, what we're speaking of, if he's able to come in and the level doesn't drop, so they maintain a certain level, and he comes in and that level doesn't drop, then you can say, oh right, well, he's of that, not of that ilk, not of the same quality,
but he can be a very good squad player.
He can be, because I think the term squad player, because we have so many players nowadays who get the term squad player who probably don't deserve it. It's something that's looked down upon. But if you look over the years, squad players. That's
a fair point. Because when I say squad player, I don't look at it like, I don't mean it in a what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, there we go. I don't look at it in that way. Like, I'm not meaning it in a demeaning way. I'm not criticizing you for that. Like, they are needed. Squad players are needed. Like, all these people who are like, oh, you need 11 world-class players. No, you don't. Liverpool are the best team in the world right now. They don't have 11 world-class players. Yeah, 5 or 6 help.
You name me a team that had a full 11 of world-class players.
Yeah, and it
you'd
worked.
struggle.
Nah,
You'd struggle.
the only one that ever had it was Real Madrid, and they struggled.
There you go.
When they sold Makelele, they struggled for a reason for that Galactico era. There's a reason Brazilian Ronaldo never won the Champions League.
Bro, did you see? I was. You know what? It's a good point. I was watching their formation the other day. It made no sense, bro. They would play a midfield and have Figo, Beckham, Zidane.
Yeah, Zidane was playing on the left-hand side.
Bro, it was like, you know when you play a video game. So you're playing like, well, I play pro. Yeah, I don't play FIFA. But you know, like when you're playing and you're just trying to batter someone.
Yeah.
So the formations are mad. It's basically like 3 attacking midfielders and then 3. That's what Real Madrid's. If you look at it, it was like 3 attacking midfielders. Yeah. And I remember one match they had Ronaldo, Raul, and Owen up front. I was like, bro, what is that? Do you get what I mean? But so it's all. There's no balance. Do you get what I mean?
Get what you're saying.
You need that
a balance, and that's what excites me so much about Manchester United is we're bringing in quality, but the balance is right. Like when Terry did the heat map and it had the touches and it had you shown Pogba, he likes to play on the left, Bruno on the right hand side. Perfect foil from each other. Yes. Sancho coming in playing on the right hand side.
They're not going to get in each other's way.
This is what I'm saying. That's it. We'll just run through before we get to the end of the show. D Miz Mob says can do nice combos with those midfield players. True options. They can all get a few games. I think we all agree with that. Faris says Thomas Partey in for the Man United world class for. Yo, I'm on the Partey bandwagon. I'm ready to party about Partey. Like I'm with it. I'm party. Like if he goes somewhere else, I might shed a tear on air.
As long as it's not Premier League, that'll be all right.
Nah, but to see him, I can't even say all that,
bro.
Yo.
Wow.
I can't say all
I
like,
felt that pain, you know.
Yeah, like I've really I want Sancho to come in, but I've really got my heart set on him.
I felt that pain, bro.
I just like holding midfielders, probably because that's where I play too. So that's probably what it is. So I've always been a fan of him. But yeah, that's what it is. All right, we'll end on this question. Salute to everyone who stayed through the show. Everyone's watched. It says, tough question. Get Sancho and no one else in the summer, or a holding midfielder and an LB and a left back and no Sancho. Terry, we'll let you answer.
Yeah, Sancho. Like, between those two, Sancho only and nobody else. We haven't replaced Cristiano Ronaldo on the right-hand side. I'm not saying Sancho will be as good as him, but we need someone of world-class ability there. Because we do have Fred and McTominay and Matic, you've mentioned, and we do have Williams and Shaw for the left, which I think we can. Williams will develop, and we can get better for those roles. But if you ask me to pick now, Sancho and no one else, if I had to choose between those two options, 110%. Can't hear you, boys.
My bad. I had to unmute. It's been a long show. It's been a long show. It's been a long show. I'm still in the party dream. That's what it is. But all I said was, yeah, I agree with what you were saying, Terry. Like I was agreeing with what you were saying in terms of we definitely need a Sancho. Getting all 3 would be a dream now. That's my dream summer. Like that's the dream. I don't know the left back, but we get Thomas Partey and Sancho. Like from a third eye view, would just become Partey central. Like,
but you know
literally.
what? I said this to you before, and I won't be surprised if Woodward does this. If he just gets to Sancho and no one else, and then everyone would be so happy. Do you know what I mean? If we actually got Sancho and we didn't get anyone else, everyone would actually be really happy, and he could get away with it.
Nah, I hear what you're saying. But yeah, like I said, salute to everybody who's tuned in on the YouTube live, or anyone who's been on the Twitter, anyone who's listening live through Pi Radio. Obviously, we've ran over a little bit. But Terry, tell them where they can find you, all your socials, and what else you've got going on.
Yeah, just go on YouTube, just search Football Terrace. We're the only one. Come give us a little. I think we had 130,000 subs yesterday, which was amazing.
Okay, all right.
Come across. We mainly go to the top teams in the Premier League. A few other different bits and pieces on socials. Just search Terry Fluids. It's my name. You'll see me there on Twitter, Insta. I don't do a lot on Insta. A few little pictures every now and then. I'm too old, if I'm being honest, for that sort of stuff. Yeah, do that, and everything else I'm doing. I do 2 or 3 videos a day, mainly talking transfers or tactics or just general conversations with everybody else. But as soon as the games are back, we'll be going straight back into match goal reviews, which we love doing, live phone-in shows after games. So yeah, come check us out.
So yeah, people, make sure you go and check out Terry on the Football Terrace. You can catch me and JV over there, obviously with Mr. Aaron United on that United show. You're gonna catch Stro over there as well. You'll catch Stro over there. Stro, tell him where he can find you and all that good stuff.
Obviously on the Instagram, Mr. Bloodstro, Twitter, Ryan Wayman AWF, and the Alicia Wayman Foundation. Obviously, I've got a foundation in honour of my little sister. So if you are struggling with mental health, then hit me up. I'm always free to chat.
See, there you go, people. And literally, we are just changing the camera. That's why we blacked out, but we are leaving anyway. So salute to everybody who's tuned in live. Terry, thank you very much for jumping on the show. We need to bring you back, definitely.
Appreciate it, boys. Thanks for having me on. Thank you.
No problem. And thanks to everyone who has tuned in. See that the camera's kind of back there. So that's a great end to the show. Make sure you tune back in to From a Third Eye View on Pi Radio every Monday, 7 p.m. till 9 p.m.